Tick-tock, time to rock. Unless you're all of you crybabies, in which case it's time to cry. Hey, all you crybabies. Going, David, it's 3 minutes late. Oh my goodness, it's the end of the world. What planet are you guys from? The Ayatollah is dead. That man's life just ended, and you guys can't stand waiting for 3 minutes? That how you guys are? Man's life was ended, and you're like, oh, but the most important thing in the universe is these 3 minutes. How about you go back to Planet Crybaby and cry there? So we got no time to cry here. I'm sorry. I just saw the comment. I totally forgot about it. Oh, where'd it go? Where? Come on, man. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. But David, did Jesus use the word triune? I didn't see the debate, but I just saw that clip. Like, guys, I've been out. Been out all day doing some family stuff and so on. So I haven't been updated on the Ayatollah stuff. So basically, I grabbed various clips from today. I want to make a video talking about, gosh, learn to see the big picture. It's so I haven't seen anyone commenting on the big picture. When I see something like this happen to the Ayatollah, like all I'm thinking about is the big picture in the grand scheme of things and how this affects Islam in the grand scheme of things and so on. And literally no one is talking about it. No one. So I was thinking I would make a video on it, but that was just based on the fact that the Ayatollah died. And I was like, oh, I need to make a point about this because I know for a fact no one else picks up on this stuff. And I don't know why, because I'm like locked in. All I see is the big picture. All I see. I have to think and focus to see like the little picture. And everyone else focuses on the little picture, and then like they have to think and be told what the big picture is. Anyway, you guys know what the big picture is? Hey, matter of fact, let me see where you guys are at. Come on, you've been watching us for years. What is this? Oh, so anyway, now I'm talking about the Ayatollah, and I forgot about the comment. But did Jesus use the word triune? Yeah, I saw that clip shared on X. So, awesome. Junior's awesome, but he has God logic in the debate. Haven't seen the debate yet. Definitely want to watch that. What's cool about Junior is one, I mean, two things. He's not scared, but two, he's also fun to watch. He's funny. But yeah, he was debating God logic, and he said, did Jesus ever use the word triune? And God logic's like, what? Triune? God logic. No, it doesn't. I don't think he ever used the word triune. So anyway, he's trying to say triune, but anyway, funny, fun stuff. So anyway, guys, wanted to make a video about the Ayatollah stuff, but I figured all I knew was that he'd been bombed as far as earlier. And then, as I've mentioned many times before, if I'm gonna watch a clip or watch some clips or something like that to update myself, and I think it's something that everyone else is interested in, I'll go ahead and just grab the clips and jump on live. So haven't watched these. We're gonna go ahead and check out some of the news from today. We'll start with Trump's announcement. That was like on the White House channel, and then some of the other clips got one where Iran announced that he was dead because, I think someone from Israel announced it first, and then later on Trump announced it on Truth Social, and then still later after that, Iran announced it. When I saw Muslims during the time saying, no, they're lying, he's alive and well, we know this, and so on, and then turned out he's not alive and not well at all. He'd be the opposite of that. So anyway, guys, What's the real significance here? Keep in mind, he's 86 years old. He's 86 years old. How much longer was he going to be alive in this world? Maybe if you live to be really old, what, another 10 years or something like that? And that would be like really old. All right. Go ahead and post it now. If you already started posting, what's the real significance of what just happened in terms of Islam? In terms of Islam. For those of you who are concerned about Islam and you don't want to see it succeed in taking over the world, what? Someone here said, BB said it first, I think. I don't know. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. What is this? Hey, what the heck? Hold up. I was planning on just jumping on live by myself and checking out some clips, but Jai went ahead and invited himself. Hey, man.
Hey, what's up? It's not Issa. It's Chai today.
Hey. Now, apparently, Jai and Issa think they can just chime in whenever they want. No invitation, just like guys who just show up and knock on your door. Hey, man, because it's going to come in here. Let's hang out. It's like, oh, man, I'm trying to do a bunch
Why
of stuff.
why even knock? Just walk right in.
Yeah. So anyway, guys. All right. Let me ask you all. Hey, what is this? What is this real? Look at this. David, have you seen the Ali Dawa video from today? Something to do with a van full of something and police. No, but your multiple people have messaged me and said I have to check out timestamp such and such on this clip.
It was basically some crazy guy who was stalking Sneeko, and the Warner was his usual, like, hot-blooded and talking trash to the guy. So the guy wanted to, like, fight Warner, fight Mohammed Hijab, and he basically lost his mind a little bit, and he's like, I'm just going to call the cops and say you guys have drugs and guns in your van. And he did. And not that they had that in the van, but he called the cops and said that they did. And that was basically that. So it was a pretty big drama.
Huh. Interesting. So yeah, we'll check that out.
He was a Muslim, by the way.
So just didn't like those guys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen all sorts of division. And I spent like maybe 5 or 6 minutes going and looking for the Dawa wars. And I saw multiple categories of people. I saw people like Muhammad Hijab, who seemed to be saying, oh, Muslims need to unite or we'll never be able to stop these guys. They can do anything they want. So that's the Muhammad Hijab camp. Muslims need to unite. And Muslims aren't united. That's why the kuffar are so much more powerful. Then you've got I saw Adnan Rashid. I saw him earlier before I went out. But Adnan Rashid, he was like celebrating. Yeah, he's going to hell and stuff like that. And those would be the people who are kind of thinking, wait a minute, this guy spent his entire life killing Sunnis, coming up with ways to kill Sunnis. We don't like this guy, right? So that's Adnan Rashid. Ha ha. He's laughing at this guy being dead. And then you've got the pro-Shia people, of course. They're crying, but also you've got the Muslims who they hate, even though the Ayatollah is like one of their supreme enemies, and Shia Islam, a lot of these guys don't regard them as real Muslims, and they've been doing nothing but fighting everywhere. You had the war in Iraq, and I'm talking like back in the 80s and stuff, Iraq versus Iran and so on. And then like the war in Syria and other places, it's Sunnis and Shias killing each other and so on. And I mean, tons of people died in Syria because of, trying to keep Assad in power. And so you've got the people who, even though they really hate the Ayatollah, they hate Israel and the United States more. And so they're suddenly, oh, this great martyr, he was such a champion defending Islam. This guy's done nothing but kill you guys, man. And so everyone's got a different position. I mean, it's a couple different categories, but they're all attacking each other right now. So I mean, just think about this. Like leader of Iran gets bombed. What happens? Muslims go to war over it. Dawa wars. We could probably do an entire show just on the Dawa war fallout of these guys all attacking each other right now.
I don't know if you have it prepared, but Rabbi Ferris Well, I don't. It's not fair to call
Oh,
him. That's
what
what
up?
Daniel.
Hang on, hang on, hang on. Oh my goodness. He heard his name. He heard his name. He heard us talking about him. He's like, oh, is that an invitation? Is that an invitation? He mentioned me. He's obviously telling me to join.
That's
I was
hilarious.
sitting here thinking, hey, I'm going to watch a couple clips. Boom, be done 30, 40 minutes, be out of here. Everyone will be up to date. Everyone will understand the big picture. Wrong, wrong. We'll get to the big picture like midnight. Hey, how
Hey,
you
what's
guys
up,
doing?
Issa?
I'm pretty disturbed by the fact that you guys are smiling when a man just died, guys. Bunch of,
Yeah.
and they call me the psychopath.
Hey, so Rabbi Ferris, he just did a tweet against like Othman ibn Fibbin because Othman is on like the Muhammad hijab side, where he's like, all Muslims
I
should unite.
saw.
All Muslims.
I didn't see what Sheikh Uthman said, but it's one. Again, all I did was I just looked up. I just went to a couple Dawa channels real quick. I went to Daniel
Yeah,
Kikachu, took like two
that's it.
screenshots,
Yeah, yeah,
and but I saw. I don't even remember if I took a screenshot of the Faris guy. But
he calls him Rabbi Ferris. I shouldn't call him that. I don't. He's actually like a Muslim, but yeah. So that's like you said, they're just going to war with each other, and should Muslims be united or should? But that's the thing. They don't consider each other Muslims even. So it's kind of
that's what I mean. It's like you've got all these guys, and they're all attacking each other, but you can kind of see like each position is kind of right? That like each one can be looked at as right within Islam for a different reason. And so they all think they're right and they're all attacking each other.
yeah.
Um, yeah, wild, wild, wild times, guys. And I saw people. I never thought this could happen. It's like, what are you talking? We were saying like all last year, like the end is nigh. The end is
Yeah.
nigh for the Iranian regime. And I said it. We can go back and find the clips. Said, no way no way this regime. And keep in mind, you know, it's the leader got taken out. That doesn't mean the regime is currently gone and so on. But it was like, okay, I thought extremely low probability that this regime would last like another 5 years or something like that. I didn't know if it was going to
Yeah.
happen like, you know, because of the most recent protests or if it was going to be later this year or next year or something like that. But, you know, the the people of Iran realizing have been realizing that the regime has been weakened and so on, and people getting sicker and sicker of it. As far as like the situation in Iran, guys, you had the Iranian Revolution, end of the 70s and so on. So Iran had a king for what, a couple thousand years or something like that, and then all of a sudden you had the leftists, you had the socialists and the communists united with all the 12er Shia hardliners, and let's work together getting rid of this guy. And so they got rid of the Shah, he's gone, and then the Muslims killed the leftists
Yep.
and took power. And I'm saying that because that's the general pattern you see over and over again. The leftists align with the Muslims, and then hey, we're all best buddies here. No, they're using you. They're using you until they get what they want. Stop being complete idiots. But anyway, so at first, it's yay, we got rid of the Shah. Like a ton of Iranians, for various reasons, all united because they wanted to get rid of the Shah. Then they got rid of the Shah. Then the 12er Shias took over and so on. And over time, they continued losing more and more support from the people until the only people who remained supporting the regime were the 12er Shia extremists. Everyone else hated them for various reasons, but everyone else hated them. And so the only people in Iran who were keeping the regime in power were the 12er Shia hardliners, which is why the regime could never compromise on like the hijab and so on. If the moment they would have compromised and said, okay, if you don't want to wear the hijab, you don't have to wear the hijab, they would have lost the only support they had left. And so they had to keep going. They had to keep just being brutal on all of this and so on. But, you know, you saw the people getting sicker and sicker of this and so on. And then, so it was a matter of time. And now The Ayatollah. The Ayatollah just got taken out here. And
Yeah,
none
there was
of
a
you, none
recent
of you, none of you is seeing the big picture here at all, and I don't get why. What's up? What's up, Jay?
there was a recent video going around where there was like this girl who wasn't wearing he wasn't wearing the head covering, the hijab, and there was a woman trying to enforce it, and a bunch of women stood up around her, even ones wearing hijab, and they were like stopping her from enforcing the hijab. So you could tell people were just getting sick of this Islamic regime, like on like the ground level. Your everyday person was getting sick of it, and like I was just, you can see it all over X. There's like high school kids like celebrating that, the Ayatollah is dead and stuff like that. So it's like it seems like the majority of people that, at least that we're seeing online, are all in support of, the Ayatollah being, gone.
We have Issa. We have this comment. Issa there on the left is the real Mahdi. Yeah, Issa, you should challenge that fake Mahdi and point out that you were rocking the beanie before him.
But instead of being the Pope, I'll be the patriarch.
You could be the anti-pope to his pope. Just everything he says, you be the opposite and challenge him to a Mahdi showdown.
A Mahdi what is it? Mubahala.
Mahdi Mubahala. Yeah, that guy. Hey, what's this? I see people saying, invite up Mohammed Faridi. He's in the chat. Hey, he can jump on. If someone wants to. Well, he'd have to email us because I don't want to just put the link. I just don't want to put the link to this live stream out there at random and then everyone's jumping in and stuff like that. But hey, Mohammed Faridi, I don't know if you're even set up to jump on with us, but if you want to, you can. What else? Yeah. So guys, let's just go ahead and let's check out some clips. Oh gosh, we got a bunch of super chats already. Let's go ahead and watch the Trump clip first. Let's watch the Trump clip first, and then we'll take some super chats and so on. Then watch some more clips, and all of you will continue missing the big picture because all you see is what is in front of your face. Oh, look, I can't see past this. And then I have to explain it for you. And you guys complain because I'm 3 minutes late to something. All right, let's go ahead and check out this Trump clip, everyone. Here we go. This is Trump's announcement. Have not watched this. I only saw the first few seconds where it's called what was it? Operation Epic Fury. I was like, oh my goodness, Operation Epic Fury. Don't know a lot of the details about what happened other than your boy got bombed, but it sounds like a name I would come up with. But anyway.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives.
Some people say it's the greatest military offensive ever launched by anyone. Are they right? Yes. Man, you have me to thank, Anyway.
The world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds.
Called it.
No one has ever seen this before.
You got like the D-Day invasion and stuff. Like, hey, we dropped some bombs. No one's ever thought of this. Oh my God. Hold up. Here we go. USA. All right, here we go. Oh, the dude's funny, man.
Of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of
I didn't know they're bombing ships and
literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched.
You see that? I think he's like me. He's used to saying Khamenei, and
Yeah.
like say it, Khamenei. Do you guys know what the correct pronunciation is? I just heard both for years. But I remember when I was growing up, I always heard Ayatollah Khamenei. But then in recent years, I've been hearing Ayatollah Khamenei. So I don't know if that's like
Khamenei.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Khamenei. Yeah.
All right. So he had to kind of struggle to say to say it right.
There was another thing. Remember he was doing with Netanyahu? He gave him like the Abraham Accords. He's like Avraham. That's the Avraham. He was saying like the proper.
Yeah, it's weird. Here it's someone who I guess is trying to pronounce it correctly, but if you go back, it was Jimmy Carter, but then George W. also had the problem sometimes where Jimmy Carter couldn't say the word nuclear. He said nuclear, and not nuclear, right? And so he always sounded kind of dumb. But I remember, who was it? I think it was George W. who also nuclear weapons. Like,
and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the
oh, hang on here. Khamenei and Khamenei are two different guys. Wait, are you saying that Khamenei is the correct pronunciation of the? So yeah, guys, those are two different guys. So
Yeah,
Ayatollah Khamenei. I mean, both were involved in the Iranian Revolution, but Ayatollah was an actual like whatever it is, Grand Ayatollah. So he was a religious leader, and then he becomes a political power and so on. That's different from Khamenei.
Yeah.
No idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he was, he wasn't an Ayatollah, but they kind of made him one over time just because they had an issue with making a non-Ayatollah. So he was the president. And originally it was supposed to be you have the supreme ruler who was going to be an Ayatollah, and you had the president, and he was not supposed to be a cleric, but then they changed it because they wanted Khamenei. So, wait, are you saying that's the reason for it? Because I heard even referring to this guy, because he took over in like 1989, and I always heard Ayatollah Khamenei. So are you saying just people just were confusing the name with the previous name, and that's why they're pronouncing it wrong? I don't know. That would make sense. That would make sense, though. What do you think, Jai? Was that guy Ayatollah Khamenei?
Yeah, I think
That's
the previous one Khomeini, and then this one Khamenei. I think that's
Okay. So basically, people after Ayatollah Khamenei died were calling this guy by the same name just because the names look very similar. And then you had people who thought that he was like the son and stuff. No. They're like different families and so on. And you could tell because one has an A in it.
Student teacher or something like that, or successive kind of thing.
Okay, that would make sense. That would make sense. I just thought people were mispronouncing the name. Okay, that makes sense. All right, here we go.
Indian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to.
Oh, hey, shout out to everyone who's granting lots of Apologetics Roadshow memberships. Apostate of Allah just gifted some. PS2 Chipper just gave some, and then Jack Ray gave 50. Gosh, that's a ton.
Jack Ray.
That's a ton. This whole everyone in the chat's about to be green. Actually not, because we got 2,785 people watching right now, so that's a lot of people. All right, we know what you guys are here for.
A lot of people saying a lot of Iranians in the chat. Shout out to the Iranians.
Yeah, and another thing we've been saying for years is that like regime changes and so on in the Middle East usually don't work because from an American perspective, when we think, this is why it always worked in the minds of like Westerners, what worked for us? Well, get rid of the tyrant. Get rid of that tyrant, King George, and then freedom and democracy will flourish. Get rid of the tyrant, freedom and democracy will flourish. That's why, like, historically, we buy it every single time when people go, hey, can you please just get rid of this evil tyrant for us? And we go, yeah, what a great idea. And then freedom and democracy will flourish. And they don't realize, yeah, you did have some people in the country who wanted freedom and democracy, but you had other people who just want to take over and they want someone else to take out the leader for them so that then they can, have their bloodbath. And so, oh, God, just get rid of Saddam for us. What happens? Then you get rid of Saddam, then they start blowing up each other's mosques. And it's like, wait a minute, you guys were just waiting the entire time to get rid of the leader so you could all jump into power and so on. Same thing in Libya, same thing in Syria. Western nations keep falling for that. And it doesn't work because you need a certain kind of population for this to work. If you're just going to take out a leader, you need a certain kind of population for this to work and so on. But we've been saying for a while, the place that looks like it would actually work or that has the best chance of it working looks like Iran. Looks like Iran. You had a bunch of people there who actually just are sick of all this stuff and would like a better government, and they don't want Sharia. And matter of fact, when a few years ago, when people were talking about regime change in Iran and so on, and just to be clear, I don't believe that Western nations should go in and make a government that has got to come from the people or something like that. If someone wants to take out an evil terrorist leader or something like that, you're not going to hear any objections from me. But it has to be the people who rise up and take control of their own government and so on. But anyway, when people started talking about a regime change, what I saw online over and over again was, oh, look how well that worked in Afghanistan. As if Iran and Afghanistan are quite similar. They're not, right?
They're not.
In Afghanistan, 99% of the population, at least of the poll from several years ago, 99% of the population want Sharia law as the law of the land. Well, what about all the people who objected to the Taliban? Well, they thought the Taliban was doing Sharia law wrong. They still want Sharia. It's just they don't want these guys. They think their version of Sharia is wrong. And so they want Islamic law, but not that version of it. Iran people don't want Sharia. Majority population don't want Sharia. They want something else. And so
and they have a descendant from the royal family too. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I think it's Pahlavi or something like that. Like he's like from the royal family. So they're waiting for him to take leadership as well. So it's also someone like another Persian, you know, not like some foreign invaders or something like that.
Yeah. So most places, taking out the leader, you're going to end up with a lot of disaster, even if the leader is an evil scumbag. And most of the leaders, you know, like Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, and so like evil scumbags. But sometimes the evil scumbags are doing something else, like keeping all the guys who want to go on a killing spree against other religious groups. Sometimes the evil scumbag is keeping them in check, right? In other words, you have Saddam, and then we take out Saddam and everyone starts blowing up each other's mosques. Well, those people were there. Why weren't they blowing up each other's mosques before? Because they were terrified of that guy. That guy, you get out of line, all of a sudden there's going to be tanks rolling into your village the next day. And so they were terrified of him. And so
David,
what?
I don't know if this is fake news or not, but someone said that Mohammed Faridi's emailing you.
Is he?
That's what someone in the chat said that. Yeah.
You don't know that.
Could be fake news.
Could be fake news. Let me go over there.
I might have interrupted you for no reason.
Oh, here we go. All right. Yes, there is someone who claims to be Mohammed Faridi. We will find out here in a second. Hang on, everyone. Just bear with me. Man, I thought this was going to be a 40-minute show. I was going to get everyone up to date. And different plans now. Hang on.
I think what you said is completely on point, though. I think that's the problem, is there's going to be power vacuums, and people, they have to get out of that kind of American dream type of thing that if you just get rid of the so-called bad guy, everything's going to be good. There's a lot of people in the shadows who want power. Like we saw Daesh took power in a lot of these places, and you really don't want Daesh. And I honestly don't think I don't think people actually want Sharia. They might say it because it makes them look religious, but no one actually wants it. No one wants that rule because people ultimately want to have freedom. The thing is, they say they want it because it makes them look good, you know?
Well, they also lots of times think they want it because they think it's good. I mean, hey, this is a law laid down by Allah. You're a Muslim, right? So you want that? Yeah. Until you actually experience what it's like. You're like, get me out of here.
Because they don't know what it is. It's just it's nice. It's just going to be, everything's pure. We're going to pray. We're going to fast. It's just going to be nice. You're right. It's either that or it's like, I'm looking good. But I don't think anybody, once they know what that kind of structure is, no one wants it. No one wants it.
Yeah. And
okay. There was a city in Syria called Kobani, and it was like a Kurdish city, I think, or village or something. And once ISIS took over, like that, they like mostly left Islam and became Christians because they saw what the Sharia really was, what Islam really was. So a lot of people, when they see what Sharia really is, what Islam really is, that's what it takes them to leave Islam.
1 second, because we've got someone who knows way more than any of you clowns. And
Hello.
definitely more than me. I only know what I've
Hey,
what
brother.
I've heard from other people over the past few years. But now, hey, we've got Mohammed Faridi here. So, hey, how you doing, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me. And thanks for all the chat people that got your attention. That they did the job, the actual job. So, yes.
All right, so we've got some clips to watch and so on, but you're, as far as I know, significantly more knowledgeable than probably most of the people will be watching in the clips. So anything you want to say here at the beginning to update everyone?
First thing, yes, absolutely. First thing, congratulations to the Iranian people. I know you're in the chat, you're watching. You've been waiting for this moment 40 some years. We didn't know what we were getting 47 years ago in 1979. We didn't know what we were getting. They promised Ayatollah Khomeini. I'll explain the names too, because Khomeini is not Khamenei. These are two different names from two different cities. Their last names are derived from two different cities in Iran. So Khomeini offered us free electricity and public transportation, and he's going to bring back the reputation. And under a just Islamic system, we will have the left utopia, but Islamic version of it. Of course, we didn't know what we were getting. Right after 1979, Iran went to a horrific war with its neighboring country, Iraq. Iranians were fighting Iraqis 8 years. The country was already in the shock of revolution. Now 8 years of war, tens of thousands of people who freed. They were thinking they freed Iran and handed over to the Ayatollah. Now they went to the war zones and then they died. And then by the time in 1990s, as we were realizing what a tragedy is happening to our nation, it was too late. The regime of Iran, the Islamic regime of Iran, consolidated all the power. They were sitting on the throne strong enough with their iron fist. They killed all the opposition. There was nothing but the Sharia. And then we realized we didn't get any free stuff. And then we got the Islamic regime and its Sharia. And then if you didn't practice Sharia, they had the Sharia police enforcing on the streets. For example, during Ramadan, if you break your fast, they would lash you 80 times. And the women had to cover completely. And then, of course, many times the Iranians came out to protest. They came out to get some sort of space from this regime. And the regime, with all its brutality, with all evil, it came down on the Iranian people, shut down protests, killed thousands of Iranians throughout the years. And then the most horrific one of it was this past month of January, and now it's actually March, in about 5 weeks ago, that they killed, they say, upward of 90,000 people. I have spoken to my family in Iran. All of my family are in Iran. And some of them, they told me that any relatives, anybody that they know, they have lost one or two members of their families to this regime savagery. Many of the people were detained, arrested, in prison, and tortured, raped. And they kept the body bags. These evil people, they kept the body bags because they wanted to reuse them for such situation as this. And when there would be an attack, they would say, look, the Israeli attacks or the American attacks are killing the Iranian. Well, they killed the Iranian people. We had Iranians go and picking up their body of their loved ones, and they would make them to pay for the bullets that they killed the Iranian people. This regime is one evil, weird, evil to unimaginable evil that they have ruled in this nation. But thank God, finally, we had in 2009, we had the Green Movement, which Obama betrayed the Iranian people and sent pallets of, instead of jets, instead of B-2 bombers, they sent pallets of cash to Iran to earn their trust to bring him to the negotiation table. Like, look, just imagine how stupid a president could possibly be, negotiating with terrorists. And then that didn't work. And then 2023, we had Mahsa Amini, the girl that didn't wear her hijab, and
Oh
she
yeah.
was killed. Iranians came, and we had the same situation, and Biden was in power. And we were thinking, God, if Trump was in the power and something such as this would have happened, this would have been different. And now we see the difference. Trump told them that if you kill the Iranian people, guns are locked and loaded, help is on the way. It was a little confusing. We were losing hope because we're talking upward of 90,000 to 100,000 people have been killed by this regime last month. And the Iranians look back, where's the help that President Trump promised? Because they knew if he said help is on the way, it's going to come. Anyway, it took him a while. I know they have a lot of planning to do. I know there's so much things that goes into the details of this mobilization and all that, which we normal people can't comprehend. But thank God that they have arrived, and then they killed the head of the octopus that was in Tehran. This evil Ayatollah is killed. I promise you, upward of 90% of the Persians in Iran and diaspora, they are rejoicing it. This has been the best news to them. Imagine this person just this past week. They were quoting chapter 2 of the Quran, I think is verse 193 or 197. They were saying that Allah has commanded us to kill as many to get rid of the discord that is in the land. These people were killing us and quoting us the Quran. But now who's going to quote the Quran to them? So he joined his processor,
Predecessor.
or processor, whatever that word is. So Khomeini was the original Ayatollah, and Khamenei, which died last night, he was the person who replaced that guy. Which they outdid one another in evil, and thank God for President Trump. CIA gave him. I looked at to see who did what. CIA gave him the intel, and the one Israeli pilot shot him and killed him. And not only he's dead, his son, his daughter-in-law, and 30 some member of the cabinet, the pretty much the Islamic Shia think tank is obliterated, and that is good news. If you're an American, if you're a Westerner, if you're a Christian, if you're from Israel, wherever you're watching, you should be rejoicing. And this is a new day. Sorry to talk too fast and too much, but this is just, I'm so excited. I haven't been sleeping two nights now. It's been,
Wow.
the tide has turned. The Iranian people are ready. As you have mentioned on your lives and on this show, 2/3 of the Iranians don't believe in Islam. Out of the 75,000 mosques, 50,000 closed in 2023, and in 2026, the Iranian protesters, they were burning down the mosques and the shrines and the Islamic symbols. They are done. Brothers and sisters, the Persian people are done with the evil of Islam, and they're already moved on from it. Now tell us what's next. Who's going to fill the vacuum? There would be no vacuum. We have the prince. He is very much a democratic leader. He talks about being pro-Israel, pro-America, and pro-Christians and minorities.
Oh.
He has openly talked about it. Many people believe that he's even an ex-Muslim Christian. Many people. Today, a Christian pastor was praying for him for godly wisdom, and he was standing there humbly with a bowed head and closed eyes, listening to those prayers. We have the replacement. He has a plan to replace this regime. Just keep praying that nobody talks about ceasefire. We don't want ceasefire. We don't want none of that. We want this regime to cannot find holes that they hide in it, because Iranians are done with it. Persians are done with it. We're ready to move on from Islam to replace this with something much more open that is going to benefit everybody. The fastest growing evangelical church is inside Iran. This is true. We're working with them. We have underground churches everywhere. Every little town, cities, villages, there is underground churches in it. And the Iranian underground church is going to come on the ground by the grace of God. And you just watch the revival that is happening. It's going to be awesome. So
Oh,
I'm done.
awesome. Awesome stuff. And thank you. Thank you for joining us because I can't speak for myself, but these two guys are with me. I mean, what do they know? So, oh yeah, but yeah,
We don't even know the difference between Khamenei.
So it's Khomeini and Khamenei, two different people
Yeah.
from two different cities.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're right. It wasn't long ago when like I always have like kind of mixed feelings on the United States intervening in places because it's like, okay, if the United States is successful in taking out a regime and stuff, you don't want to be the regime that was installed by the U.S. There's always going to be like a shadow over you, and like you're puppets of the U.S. and so on. So kind of I don't know, but at the same time, like this is a terrorist regime. They're like terrorist attacks all over the world that are all connected to these guys. So like, how do you navigate that? But like me and AP, we agreed. It's like when you tell people, hey, people, you rise up and we've got your back. If you do not then have you just made a promise. As far as I'm concerned, you made a promise, and if you don't keep that promise, they have no business trusting you ever again. So when when they didn't do anything, it was like, seriously? I mean, if you let them crush and kill all these people, like who's ever going to rise up again? You may have just helped the regime right there if they crush everyone and no one does anything.
Came to that junction. President Trump truly came to that junction because he pushed himself up there. He said to the Iranian people, go on the streets, occupy the institution. And he said, help is on the way. And the Iranians believed him because they know who he is. He just says it and keeps his word. And they did. But I think he jumped the gun. I really believe that. When he said it, he didn't expect that amount of Iranians come on the streets and protest and get killed. I don't think they expected it and they were ready for it. But thank God it doesn't matter. The Iranian families, the Iranian mothers who lost their loved ones into this, now they're celebrating. They already have forgotten what has happened, the tragedies. We have families in Iran have lost fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, sons to these many relatives. I have Iranian believers that they have told me they have lost their cousins, many people, and but now this event last night turned the tide, truly turned the tide, and now the hope is engaged in their hearts once again. So that's he was at that junction. I believe that with all of my heart. What you said is true, because if he would have not delivered, there would be probably it would have taken a generation to just trust Americans once again, or the American government once again.
Now we definitely want to get through a couple of clips. We definitely want to hear Trump's speech and so on. But before we do, just if you could just give us like a little bit of like your background.
Well, I was a Shia Muslim, born and raised in Iran. My uncle is a martyr for Islam. Our family, we have a street to our last name. My uncle Mural, if you search his name today, you will find him, Abul Qasim Faridi. He was a major leader when he died. He had 4 children, and our family was well respected. I grew up thinking about martyrdom. I grew up thinking about being a sacrifice for the cause of Islam. That was my goal. I graduated high school. I was trained by the IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, as a martyr. Part of our training was actually they took us to the border of Iran and Iraq, and then they said, this is the holy ground watered by the blood of the martyrs, and they laid us in empty tombs and graves during the night to fight the fear of death. That was part of our training. When they tell you Muslim love death over as much as you love life as Christian, it is truth. We were thinking dying is the highest goal, highest value that you will ever earn as a Muslim. And then I was dreaming about this, praying to Allah to give me the honor to become like my uncle. Came back from my military service, talked to a friend of mine who was were identical in age. He's 3 days older than me. He was medically exempt. I was trying to get his name is Rasul, ironically means the apostle in Farsi. So Rasul, he was medically exempt. I was after I came back, I wanted to get caught up with him. I talked to him a few minutes. He said he wants to come out see me. And a few minutes, I realized Rasul has changed, and I couldn't exactly tell what was the matter with him. And then he said, Muhammad, I have become Christian. I said, what? Is Christianity something you become? I want you to consider what he did with a little more care, because now I just came out of IRGC. This is happening inside Iran. That's how much he cared for me. That's how much he loved me, to dare to tell me the truth. And he said that Jesus Christ has been sacrificed for you. He was beaten, bruised, cut. His precious blood was shed, and he gave up his life that you have eternal life. David, folks, when he told me that, something went right into my heart. I mean, it's like my heart was cut into two pieces.
Wow.
And I was just felt naked before a holy God, having nothing to offer. Everything I was trying to do as a Shia Muslim, beating myself, get a sword, cutting myself, shedding my own blood, dreaming about dying for the sake of Allah. I just realized it was finished in the person of Jesus Christ. And that's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And that moment, I accepted the Lord, became a Christian. Islam being very tolerant and very beautiful religion. I was so excited to tell my parents, especially my dad, because he lost his dad, his brother into this war, and he was a family of martyrs. Imagine, of course, that's with a bit of sarcasm, but I lived as an underground believer inside Iran, evangelizing, sharing the gospel, distributing Bibles and CDs of God is love, and then our church was attacked, and I had to flee the nation of Iran, and God miraculously, truly miraculously brought me to the U.S. as a religious refugee, and have lived here 13 and a half years, and I'm grateful forever to God. And we just can't wait. Now we just can't wait to go back to Iran and openly share the gospel with all of the Iranians. This is going to be just awesome.
Praise God.
That is awesome, awesome stuff. You hear that, Issa? You hear all that, Issa? Not sure if you're familiar with Issa here.
No,
He's a
no,
Sufi.
I'm not. I'm a little caught off guard because this is some probably internal joke that I'm like, what is happening?
No, Issa, who's here with us, he's a Sufi Muslim, so he's not
okay.
he's not like the other guys. He gets along with us, and we're all friends and stuff like that. But yeah,
What an interesting name you have, Issa. Issa
I
is
appreciate it. Thank you.
when we pray as Christians of Iran. Actually, let me show you this Bible. So if you look at this, it says the gospel of Issa Masih.
Yeah.
So your name is the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, man.
you hear that, Issa?
Issa has died for you, brother, has given his life.
You heard it
to
here,
have
Issa.
eternal life.
You heard it here, buddy.
Amen.
All right, let's finish watching this Trump speech. It's I think it's like
Maybe
5 or
we got
6.
about 5 more minutes, and then after that I go. But I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Thanks for the rest of the brothers that are here too.
Oh, did you say you have to go in a couple minutes?
5 more minutes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'd rather talk to you then. I mean, we're gonna listen to Trump, but yeah, we'd rather hear from you. You got any questions, Jai or Issa?
Yeah, I was going to ask about the Christian community in Iran. Like, I know you have some Armenians there as well, but I'm really curious about the Muslims who became Christians. If you can talk a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. In 1994, 1995, and 1996, the Iranian regime kidnapped and killed 6 major heads of the church, the Assemblies of God, and other churches that 2 of them were Armenians, 4 of them were ex-Muslim. They were head of the churches inside Iran. And they thought, the Islamic regime of Iran thought, when we decapitate the heads of the Christian movement of Iran, this is going to be done away with. They killed those people. Bishop Haik was the biggest leader at that time, the biggest name in that time. And then there was a ex-Muslim, Mahdi Dibaj, that the court of Iran, they marked him, and then they prosecuted him as an apostate, and he was on a death row. Bishop Haik leaked his documentation to the world. The founder of our ministry, actually, Abe Ghaffari, went in front of the Congress here in the U.S. and kind of advocated for Mehdi Dibaj, and then the international pressure, and they went under the light of the international pressure, the Islamic regime, that what are you doing? And this is absolutely evil. So they let Mehdi Dibaj go because of the international pressure. But unfortunately, later, um, uh, he was killed. And Bishop Hike, he was kidnapped and he was stabbed 26 times. They called themselves the anonymous soldiers of Mahdi. They killed this man, stabbed him 26 times, cut his heart, and then one of those ex-Muslims were hung up in one of those ex-Muslim pastors was hung up in front of his house with a note to his chest. He was lynched in front of his home in that street, and then they put a note on his chest that this is what you get as an apostate. And they were thinking, okay, we took care of the Christianity in Iran. And then lo and behold, by this time, 10 years later, I got saved in 2006. But in 2004, 2005, and 2006, I have met thousands of Iranians. Personally, I have met thousands of ex-Muslim Iranians who have come to Christ in those years, 10 years after that. And then Ahmadinejad came in 2008, which he was killed last night in the attacks. The president of Iran came in front of the parliament of Iran and said that Christians are stealing the Islamic soldiers, the Muslim soldiers, out of the camp of Islam, and they're taking it into the camp of Christianity. So there were so many Muslims, our age, millennials, that they were converting to Christianity, that took his attention. He took it to the parliament of Iran, and they took it from a from a normal level of security to a national level of security. And that's in 2008, 2009, our church, the Network of the Believer I was working with, it got attacked and many people were arrested. Unfortunately, I had to escape. But lo and behold, as these things are happening in Iran, they were thinking, okay, we're going to get rid of Christianity again. And Christianity is something evil. They start propagating against it, that they call us evangelical Christians are evil, and they're Zionist Christians and so many things. And then they were arresting us and prosecuting us, many believers, 5, 10, 15 years in prisons and being tortured. And then these Iranians now left, they came to diaspora, and the internet was getting something that is going to change the Muslim world. And it is amazing. The satellite TV, internet, and the cell phones has become the catalyst of the change to getting the message into the hand of the Muslims, separated from the peer pressure and scrutiny and that umbrella of monopoly that existed in Islam, that they controlled the mind of the Muslims. Now Iranians are hearing about Christ, and I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, the numbers are in millions. It is the most amazing movement. It is I call it the great exodus, the great walkaway. It is truly the tsunami of ex-Muslims who are leaving Islam and coming to the faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. And we will see it in this, whenever this regime falls, and then the Iranian Christians will come out, you will see the concerts, the worship concert that fill stadiums, 80, 100,000 Iranians going to worship the Lord in Iran.
Wow.
Wow. Imagine, not long from now, we could actually just like go over to Iran and
it's going to be awesome.
have a
I love you guys. I got to go, but I'll be, by the grace of God, if you want to have me, I'll come back. Love you guys. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Okay, God bless you. I'll ask my question later.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. He said he'd be willing to join us. But yeah, sounds busy because got lots of breaking news and so on. I'm sure he has all kinds of connections and family and friends and so on who are just loving this right now. Awesome times. All right, let's go ahead and finish watching the Trump clip, and then we'll hear from some people and see what's up. Let's go.
Surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands.
Oh, he's talking. I saw a news headline where he said people in the Iranian regime are asking for immunity and stuff, so that they want to work out a deal and so on. But hang on, let me back up a little bit.
The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there.
There's no way that's on the teleprompter, guys. I think he has
Nah.
what's scripted on the teleprompter, and he just kind of riffs. He just kind of riffs
Yeah.
off it. Some
Some
people say
improv.
they're the strongest objectives, very strong objectives. If these objectives were a Marvel character, they'd be the Hulk because they're very strong. It's like, no one put that on your teleprompter, man. Come on.
Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons that would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Well, it sounded like he was It sounded like he was saying he'll grant immunity to anyone who basically
Yeah.
switches sides right there. Guys, hey, anyone in the Iranian regime right there, I'd take that deal pretty darn quickly. I'd take
Yep.
that deal pretty quickly there.
Take it while you can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trump is the greatest boaster. He
It's just
boasts
heavy
so
duty.
huge. Some say the greatest boaster of all time. Should I get the Nobel Prize for boasting? Absolutely. But I back it up. You can see I just back it up. I don't just boast. I back up what I say. You saw it there. All right. Wow. Crazy stuff. Let's take some super chats real quick because we had a bunch of people in here. Did you eat your 7 dates today?
Did you see that, Jai? Did you see our debate?
I did see your debate. Yeah, that part though I missed, but I saw that there was clips of it though. Nice clips.
Oh, he
It
just
was
kept
insane.
going on and on. I'll eat my 7 Ajwa dates. Do you agree to convert if I eat the 7 Ajwa dates and then I poison myself?
Yeah,
And I
you had to
survive?
beg him not
It's
to
like,
do it.
dude,
you
do
know.
not do that, dude. Do not do that. Oh man.
Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Islamicize Me. Like the clip from your Islamicize Me came up, and I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!"
If Islamicize me were a person, it would be Junior.
Yeah, that's true.
That may be why I like him. Maybe he's like he's reminding me of Islamicize me or something. The last time David was this early to stream, Iran still had an Ayatollah. That is actually
Wow.
correct, sadly. Hey, Ida, just came to say hello and off to bed. It's been a long day. Stay safe, everybody. God bless. Have fun with David.
Okay.
Awesome. Do you think the Ayatollah met the wrestler Iron Sheik on the other side? Do you think the Sheik is making him humble as we speak? Yep. You guys are probably too young to even remember the Iron Sheik. Shame on you. Shame on you too.
Yeah.
Shame on you too.
Don't know who he is.
I think that's the one Hulk
He's a
Hogan.
wrestler, right?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan won. I think, if I recall, I mean, I was like a real little kid, but I think Hulk Hogan won the championship from the Iron Sheik. And that's how he originally.
He
I think
was
that,
Iranian.
yeah, he was actually
I
Iranian.
think he was actually Iranian.
He was. Yeah. No, he was. Yeah, and then and so that was, I think that was WrestleMania 2, and then WrestleMania 3 he wrestled Hulk Hogan wrestled Andre the Giant, and that's when it got real big. It wasn't as big before that, but yeah, the Iron Sheik was cool. He they partnered him with Nikolai Volkov, who was the Soviet Union guy, and so people hated him. You got the guy who represents Iran, the guy who represents the Soviet Union, and Nikolai Volkov would come in and he would demand everyone respect as he sings the Soviet national anthem and stuff. Those were good days, guys. Those were good days. Whereas it was like good versus evil back then. David, do you prefer modern or old Dawa? They're
Pretty equal.
yeah, it's like you had a more serious conversation with old Dawa, even though it was stupid. Whereas now it's more chest thump. I like them both for different reasons. Like it's easier to make fun of now. But anyway, Operation Deus Vult will continue until that country is liberated. YouTube censorship. So apparently you're trying to say more than that. I've seen.
David, I had a question to ask you. So
What's
with
up?
the old Dawa, did they ever bring up Palestine? Like every single new Dawa representative has to bring up Israel, Jews, and Palestine. Did that come up in old Dawa debates or not?
Not nearly as much, if I recall. But now it's just, I think it's because Dawa has transitioned into like a popularity contest, who can become most popular. It's like an easy way to, get a bunch of people cheering for you, even if your argument is like stupid and terrible.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think Osama Abdullah is Palestinian, but he never talked about it.
I've seen so many Americans mourning for Khamenei. I cannot find any good reason why anyone would support him, but it's scary and sickening. Yeah, it really seems to just be like people have absorbed the idea that the United States and Israel are both evil, and therefore whatever they're going after must be good. And that seems, because I mean, the people, Yeah, the same people. I'm talking about non-Muslims now. The same people who, oh my goodness, I can't believe they killed this poor man, were dead silent when he was killing thousands of protesters. They didn't say a word. They didn't say a word about that.
So did you hear about that book, or the book and the movie Not Without My Daughter? The book
Oh
came out in
yeah.
like the 80s, and the movie came out in the 90s. I just recently saw the movie, and it was one of the most horrific things I've ever seen in my
Sally
life. It was
Field, yeah.
just very disturbing. I'm like, if I'm married to someone, I'm like, you're my partner. Like, I'm not going to deceive you and lie to you. And it's like, this guy just was so easy. He swore on the Quran, and then he brought her over, and she's like,
Yeah.
"We're gonna go back, right?" He's like, "No, I think the daughter should be Muslim, and you should too." And I was like, "This is like a horror movie."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so for me, I was like, "Is this propaganda?" And I said, "Let me go and fact check it." So I looked up the daughter, who is a grown up now. She's an adult, like in her 40s, I think, and she wrote a memoir, and she's like, yeah, all of this stuff was true. And it was just really, it was just tragic. But I said it was important to, sometimes things can be sensationalized, and I said, let's fact check it and make sure. But it seems like the story really checked out on that.
And what's
Yeah.
really messed up is I've heard that same story from tons of women over the years. I mean, because I would show up at a conference and then a woman would ask, can she talk to me during a break? And she would have a very, very similar story. She fell in love with a Muslim man, treated her like a princess. Everything was wonderful, and until they had a child, and then everything changed, and the family started putting more pressure on, and either they would say, "Oh, let's go visit my family," and let's go visit my family in this country and stuff like that, and then everything would be horrific, and then it's how do I get my daughter back, or how do I get my son back, and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty rough, and what's really messed up is even though I've heard that story over and over and over again, the other thing I hear is, David, my sister just fell in love with a Muslim man. She won't listen to anything I say. What do I do? And it'd be to the point where I'd say, right now, nothing you can say is going to convince her. You need to focus on what she needs to do once she finally finds out how horribly wrong she was. What does she do? In other words, you need to start planning her escape and what she's going to do about her kid and so on now, because she's not going to listen to you now. She's not going to listen. They don't listen.
Yeah.
And so it's going to have to be later when she realizes it, and you need an action plan in place for what she's going to do. Sucks. Let's
Just
see.
makes me sad.
Zut, now my super chat does through. My first one didn't go through.
Oh, we're having the Zoot problem again.
A Pakistani Christian, love your videos and your discussions on Islam. God bless. I am so sad that people in the West don't realize how dangerous these people are, especially in the UK. Yeah, it's just crazy when the Iranians who are here, they're celebrating and so on, and it's Westerners and stuff who are screaming, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe they took out that poor peaceful, wonderful man. What's wrong with the monsters in charge of our government?" Ida said, by the way, now I know why AP is too busy. The mystery has been solved. He's doing some important job in Iran. David, please say hello, AP. We miss him. Yeah, no, AP, well, he'll be back to some extent pretty soon, but he messaged me a couple days ago. He's like, all right, starting Tuesday, I want to go live every single day. I'm like, dude, I mean, you might want to start with like once a week or something like that. Because we're having trouble with once a week now. Every single day is kind of, I mean, I'd love to be going live every day and stuff like that, but not for like 4 hours every day, but like 1 to 2 hours and stuff like that. Oh yeah, every day. Shout out from atheist fans from Brazil. We like your insights about Islam. Many Brazilians are happy about Khamenei gone. Well, it sounds like Brazilians are a little smarter than Americans and British right now. Hey, Jai, say hello to DOC.
Thank you, Ida. All right, will do.
Have you used the corrupted prophecy dilemma? If Bible corrupted, then if there isn't a prophecy of Muhammad, we don't know if one was removed. And if there is one, we don't know if it was added later. I know that Inspiring Philosophy just came out with some dilemma based on the prophecies, but I haven't watched that yet. So we'll see. I have to see what kind of dilemma he's using, but it's based on the prophecies. There's a certain song released in 1980 by Vince Vance and the Valiants that still hits to this very day. Stupid censorship. All kidding. Pray for the oppressed citizens of Iran. Yeah, they got to be loving life right now. They got launched the friggin' missiles guy. What? Without the evil leadership and Islamic government, less people. Without the evil leadership and Islamic government, less people will leave Islam. May al-Zut be upon the false prophet Muhammad. Well, you can't think, well, we want evil leaders and Muslim governments in place because that will help people leave Islam. There can be a trade-off. When you don't see the evil regime and how evil it is, you may not know. I mean, just think about it, because before the Iranian Revolution, that was the idea. We think these guys can do a better job than our current government. So yeah, if we get these guys into power, they assure us it's going to be great, and they're just going to take care of us, and it's going to be free, all kinds of stuff. The same message you hear in like New York City right now, right? It's just going to be free, everything, and everything's going to be great, and everything's going to be wonderful. But yeah, what you hope for is people have learned their lesson and then don't fall for it. Don't fall for it next time. But no, you don't want evil scumbags in power and just brutalizing people forever just so some people leave Islam. The Ayatollah believes in the one true God now. Yeah, he knows some things now. The significance is that the caliphate got zooted. That's true. What thou hast sown, thou shalt reap. That's what I was actually thinking, because like I've said it before, like you could be the worst ISIS jihadi. Given how screwed up I was, I'm always hoping, I'm not celebrating anyone's death, up until their dying breath. I hope they will eventually repent and so on and turn away from what they've done. At the end of the day, though, you reap what you sow. If you are committed to just behaving horribly your entire life, you reap what you sow, man. And those who live by the sword shall die by it. Yep, those are life lessons there. I was so sure that Issa is going to come up too. Hey, Issa. Yeah,
So
Ida cracked the code. Shout out to Malloy and Mac supporting Epic Fury. Interesting stuff. And I guess the 13th imam in the whale is going to be late. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, seriously, you do have to start wondering about the implications here, because they had Syria. They don't have Syria anymore. I'm talking about Shias. They had Syria. They don't have Syria anymore. They had Iran. That was their stronghold. I mean, all they did was lose a leader. Right now, they're getting bombed in various places and stuff. But the way things are going does not look like the Shias are going to have a regime in place anymore. And so, how is that going to affect their belief? And spouse of 11 years cheated emotionally, beyond devastated. Never cheat, my friends. It kills a part of someone's soul forever. I'll never be the same. Yeah, guys, keep your word. Don't cheat. Don't be evil.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, be trustworthy. Be trustworthy, guys. Me, we should never celebrate the death of anyone. Also me. Okay, you can have a little celebration as a treat. Hi, Issa. That's kind of how I am. And we'll go. We've got a bunch more super chats and stuff, but we want to get to some other stuff. When Iran falls and they do a proper census one day, you can remove 63 million Muslims from the already bloated false total. Yeah, so if you look at the official government statistics, like when the government's going around, are you a Muslim? Oh yeah, I'm a Muslim. Are you a Muslim? Oh yeah, I'm a Muslim. Yeah, the poll that was like 4 or 5 years ago that came out, when it's anonymous poll, Iran is a Muslim minority. Iran is a Muslim minority country. Only 40% of the population consider themselves Muslim of any kind. That's Sunni of all backgrounds, Shia, Quranists. So Muslim minority nation. And so, what are they doing? Not just with a Muslim government, but with like an extremist 12er Shia government that the vast majority of the population can't stand. And then, David, if we want to make fun of you, go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to make one comment. It was interesting because I'm not sure if it was Junior, but it was one of the Muslim debaters recently said Muslims, and I think maybe it was with God Logic, that Muslims are the greatest majority. No, you had done a review, I think I saw, where it was maybe it was that, saying that Islam was the greatest religion, like it's the biggest religion. maybe it was, I think it was Junior that said it, but he said Islam has the most population. And I was like, wow, that's so wild. And one of the videos I saw, it was like you kind of critiqued, and you're like, actually, it's Christianity that's the highest religion. Maybe it
Yeah.
was the other guy who did 26-second saying Islam is the greatest thing or whatever. You know, it was
Oh, I do
one of
remember
those.
that. I forget who that was, but yeah, he was saying, and
That was it. That's what
yeah,
it was.
he was
Sorry.
listing proofs, and was one of my proofs. Islam is the biggest religion in the world. Like, no, it's not. So if that's proof, then you just screwed up now. But David, if we want to make fun of you for being late, we're going to do it. Hey, I didn't stop you from complaining. I just made fun of you for being horribly, horribly terrible people for complaining about me all the time. We still appreciate all you do. We're going to make fun of you either way, meow. Good to know. And I will make fun of you in response. All right, guys, we got more super chats, but we want to check out some other stuff. Hey, guys, let's check out some of the Dawa Wars real quick.
Okay.
Again, guys, I only spent a few minutes just grabbing. I just went around to a couple pages, and then saw the completely different reactions to things. So we got Mohammed Hijab here. Muslim governments must make up their minds. Either they unite within the framework of a single Islamic front, or they remain subservient to the Epstein alliance. Russia and China will not come to save us. Well, you're right. Russia and China are not coming to save you, Mohammed Hijab.
Does that say originally in Arabic? Was that translated?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So I guess he was sending that out to all his Arabic-speaking fans and so on. But yeah, you're right. Mohammed Hijab, China and Russia aren't coming to save you. But if you're putting your hope in Muslims uniting, welcome to fantasy land. Population, you. Because that is total fantasy land. And Exhibit A is just how you guys are reacting to this. You guys can't agree on there's nothing you can agree on. The United States and Israel can go bomb the leader of a country, and you guys will start attacking each other instantly. We're going to all unite and we'll be very strong, and then we'll be... What? Oh, that's so incredibly dumb. Oh, gosh, dude, you are the worst tactician of all time. I'm glad you're so popular because, man. Let's check this one out. So this is what Mohammed Hijab is responding to. It says, this is what one ballistic missile did in Tel Aviv. This is why we won't let it build thousands. Why can't you allow Iran to build up tons and tons of weapons? Why are you interfering? Well, because they do stuff like this. And then check out Mohammed Hijab's response. Please post more images and videos of destruction in Tel Aviv so we can see the full extent of the damage. And then look, 5,000 likes. You have any clue how stupid this is? How absolutely insanely stupid. They just took out the leader of Iran. You're like, we killed some people. We dropped a bomb in Tel Aviv. It's the same mentality. It's like they can do devastating damage that affects the ummah, that is catastrophically damaging to the ummah. And you'd be like, but we hurt some people and we damaged a building. What's going to happen to anything you do in Tel Aviv? That's going to be rebuilt by the end of the year. They're resilient. Israel is very resilient. They're resilient. The Ummah's not resilient. You guys take losses and you just, we can't do anything about it. And when people criticize you for having a bunch of crap countries that no one wants to live in, it's like, yeah, but 1,500 years ago, this did, right? It's like, what? What? What are you talking about? 2,000 years ago, this happened in the country, and how do you expect anyone to ever recover, even with Islam? What? The heck is wrong with you, man? You guys moan and wail, because look, and then colonialism. Why haven't you fixed anything since then? I mean, think like World War II, right? European nations bombed each other down to rubble. What happened? They rebuilt. They rebuilt after it. It's resilient. It has resilience. You guys completely lack that. And so anyway, yes, we really damaged Israel. How much? How much did you damage Israel right now? How much? How much damage did you really do? Long term? None. Zero. You did zero long-term damage to Israel. They just did massive long-term damage to you. And in your mind, oh, as long as we do some damage to them, stupid. And that's why everyone knows you are an absolute tactical moron. Let's check out some more. We have Adnan Rashid here. For all mullah trolls, instead of cursing me. Wait, he said something else. Let me see. Okay, Adnan Rashid. Wait, hang on. Don't I have more? Oh, yeah, here you go. So he posts a picture of the Ayatollah. To hell, and what a wretched fate. To hell, and what a wretched fate. And then everyone jumped all over him. Oh, no, what are you doing? You're doing what? We should all be united right now. Stupid. And Anand says, greatest achievement of Khamenei, destruction of Syria and her people. If you ask the Muslims of Syria and Iraq, he is no different to Netanyahu. Do not pray for this shaitan. Rather pray that Allah serves justice for every orphan child in Syria and Iraq. Who's he responding to? He's responding to a bunch of Sunnis going, what? How dare you? How dare you? It's like, what? This guy killed tons of Sunnis, man. This guy killed tons and tons and tons of Sunnis. You guys are rooting for him just because it's Israel and the U.S. that took him out? And then for all mullah trolls, instead of cursing me, respond to these clips. We know Zionists are pigs. May Allah curse them for their crimes. Why are these mullahs our heroes? They are as guilty as the Zionists. They have Muslim blood on their hands. Let the pigs wrestle. How dare you say all that stuff? Don't you know Muhammad Hijab is busy trying to build an alliance of Muslims? And that he's going to unite the Ummah and he's going to be the new caliph. And check this out. The Shias have never conquered... What a stupid criticism. The Shias have never conquered a non-Muslim country in their whole history. They attacked and betrayed Sunni Muslims when they became weak and fell short. Iran was a Sunni Muslim country before. If you don't know, Sheikh blah, 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 blah spoke the truth, which many won't like. And then who do we got responding to this? Daniel Hakikachu. The Wahhabis have never even gone to war against a non-Muslim country. They have only invaded and massacred Muslims. So they're all saying, you're weak. No, you're weak. No, you're weak. No, you're weak. But you're weak. But you're weaker. We've killed more. You haven't killed anybody. Oh, my goodness. And then Daniel Kikacho, Uthman bin Farouk opposes the U.S. attacking Iran. Why is America working for the interests of a foreign nation, Israel? Now the entire Wahhabi network is attacking him and calling him a secret Shi'i.
Wow.
So Sheikh Uthman, hey, why is the United States at war over there? Can we stop this? Can we stop this? And the Wahhabis all jump on him. How dare you? Are you an undercover Shia? These are the guys that Muhammad Hijab's going to unite, everyone. Muhammad Hijab's going to unite the Ummah. And then there'll be a big, strong, united Muslim front. These guys can't agree on anything.
Nope.
Weak. The Ummah is weak and fractured. And for you Muslims who are watching, here's the issue. If Islam, gets a caliphate and so on, if Islam gets a caliphate, and then you have kind of a force that can keep people in line. Even if you have different views and so on, you'll have at least some main force that can keep most people in line, even if they have different beliefs and so on, right? And so you have like one big caliphate. And sometimes that caliphate will become weak, and guess what? They'll be replaced by another caliphate, and then another caliphate will be like the strong main force. Okay, you guys lost your caliphate. Once you lose the caliphate, you don't have that big grand force keeping everyone, kind of in line. What happens then? Well, you're all free to go out and do what you want. And then, boom, then all of a sudden you got 487,000 different sects of Islam all attacking each other as heretics. Now try to unite it after you lost that central force. How do you do that? You can't. You can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again, buddy. You can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. You can try, though. We'll love to watch you try.
We'll be watching.
We'll be watching. We'll be watching. All right, guys, you have any thoughts before we jump into another clip?
That's what I saw as well. Just a bunch of Dawa wars. Basically, it's like, are you Team Shia or Team Zion?
Yo, maybe in the next couple of days we should do, because again, I just went to a couple different Dawa pages, clicked a couple of shots and stuff. I'm sure they're going to be having massive ongoing Dawa wars. So we probably need to have a Dawa Wars Iran edition coming out sometime this week, and we can just put all this stuff together and make fun of these guys.
I think it's really interesting, the kind of tension that's here. Just the sort of hostility, like the anti-Jewish hostility. It sort of blows my mind, the kind of just the antagonism and anger towards a group of people that they don't even understand or know. And as a person who's been over there 3 times, um, it's probably one of the best places for Muslims and Middle Eastern folks. You know, it really, like, I went to the Muslim quarter. It was bustling. People were, getting resources. Yes, there's problems with checkpoints and stuff. That is a difficulty because of the tensions in the area. But it's like there's masjids everywhere. Masajid that's everywhere. Like, I don't understand. It's just this. I don't want to say it, but I feel to a degree it's just the idea that Jewish people in leadership is the problem. It doesn't matter how good Israel is to the Christians and the Muslims, the Jewish leadership is to Christians and Muslims. It's always going to be bad. It's always going to be evil because Jewish people are in leadership. And I think maybe it's the same way, just the feeling towards like even Christian leadership. There's this like angst and antagonism. And I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, if you have good leadership and people are treating you well and you have good rights, I don't know why you get angry and upset. I don't know. Maybe I don't have that mentality. I just don't understand it.
1 second. Laughing my butt off. Either can Christians. I think you mean neither can Christians. And so I think what you're saying is we can't unite either. Dude, one, you don't even understand what the heck you're talking about. Two, I mean, we unite a lot better. I mean, look, when something goes wrong, we're quite frequently on the same page of some horrible tragedy or something like that. But we're not the ones who, we need to unite and take over the world. Our religion doesn't say that we're gonna conquer the world and so on. Your prophet said, I've been shown the east of the east and the west of the west, and I saw that Islam ruled over all that I saw. Islam is going to take over the world. It was a vision given to Muhammad. 2 billion of you can't deal with a tiny little population in a tiny little Israel. You're incredibly weak. How do you get the power to take over the world? How do you unite when you guys can't agree on anything at all? Doesn't work. So quit acting like we're after the same thing here. We're not, and that we have the same problem. We don't. You guys are hopelessly fractured and completely incapable of accomplishing what you think your objective is in this world. There's another one. Has anyone checked on Candace? Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be interesting if she actually talks about, something other than Erica lately. Yeah, interesting stuff. Hey, guys, I'm going to take a couple super chats real quick.
Okay.
Any of you guys out there, and then we'll check out another clip. Any of you guys out there, what's the most important thing going on? And I don't mean big picture, what's the most important thing about the Ayatollah? I mean, the grand ruler of Iran just being taken out like that. What's the big picture as far as Islam goes? I've only been telling you for like 8 years now. Got prune.
Are you asking us or the chat?
No, I'm asking the people in the chat. I'm asking you guys. You don't know either. You haven't been paying attention. None of you guys pay attention. Prune says Islam is crumbling. We got Islam is breaking apart and many will come to Jesus. This is all. This is correct, but not what I'm looking for. Earth is being purified. Islam is on the decline. Islam is collapsing in the name of Jesus. Karma is a B. It shows Islam is weak. Military might goes down. Islam is falling. He died like a dog. Apostasy rates will rise. They feel weak. Some of this is on the right track, but I'll just break it down now. As far as what I've been saying, like the grand scheme of things, this is some of what you guys are saying is connected to this issue. But and people are saying other leaders will be terrified. Islam is collapsing in the name of Jesus. A house built on sand will not last. Yeah, this stuff is kind of connected. But here's the issue. So I mentioned the caliphates, right? So Islam always had a caliphate up until the Ottoman Empire fought in World War I and lost. And shortly after, the caliphate collapsed. They lost their caliphate. Now, they had lost caliphates before, but that was when it was being replaced by another caliphate. So you still had a caliphate. When the Ottoman caliphate collapsed, it was not replaced by another caliphate. It was Western nations that were more powerful. And then what happened? Then the French and the British, after World War I, went over and took over massive parts of the Muslim world and decided how they were going to divide them up into different countries and stuff. They said, hey, and then after World War II, hey, let's put Israel right there. Let's put Israel right there, right? That was massively traumatic to the Ummah. Now, for the first time, we have no caliphate, and we have no hope of rebuilding the caliphate because these other nations are way, way more powerful than us. That was traumatic, and a bunch of people lost their confidence in Islam. You saw people in Pakistan, Afghanistan, they were modernizing. Iran, they were modernizing. They started living and dressing and so on like Westerners. Women were going out and going to computer school and engineering school and stuff like that. So it was just, okay, we lost. The attitude of lots of people was we lost. Islam lost. It's been falsified. That was the psychologically, that was the impact it had on people. But you got the possible alternative explanation that came along. We've been through this before, but then an alternative explanation came along. The alternative explanation was not that, oh yeah, Islam is falling because it's false and it's not taking over the world. The alternative that came along was, yes, we lost to these Western nations. Yes, it looks like Allah's not on our side, but that's because Allah's punishing us for not being strict enough in enforcing Sharia. That was the response. It's not that Islam is false. It's that Allah's punishing us because we haven't been devout and strict enough, and we've gotten way too lax in everything. So the solution is we have to crack down, be forceful, crush all heresy, and so on. And this went in two different directions. You had the Sunni direction that gives rise to like the Muslim Brotherhood and so on. You had the Shia direction. That's like the Iranian Revolution. Both of there was the same mentality. It's we haven't been strict enough and devout enough. And so if we do that, then Allah's going to bless us again, and then we'll start taking over again. Okay. That was the plan, and you tried it. How well is that working out in Iran? That's right. It just collapsed. That entire theory, as far as the Shia wing, that just collapsed. You lost. You tried it. We'll be very strict. We'll toss people who refuse to wear the hijab in prison or kill them and so on, and then Allah will bless us for acting like this. Oh, really? Because it looks like you're the leader of your entire movement just got bombed. And it doesn't look like you're making any sort of comeback. So basically, the Shia wing just lost. And it's not looking much better for the Sunni version because you had its sort of full culmination in ISIS. And that lost and so on. But anyway, the Sunni version isn't doing too well either. And guys, you can't kind of overstate the significance of this. It's, wait a minute, Islam is lost. Islam is weak. That's not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to be taking over the world. We're supposed to expand until we take over the world. And we just got crushed in World War I. And we have no hope of rising to power. We have no hope of taking over these Western nations. We're way too weak. Alternative explanation. Allah's punishing you because you're not being strict. Okay. ISIS was very strict. They lost. Iran, very strict. They lost. Now where are you going? Now they're only, you've still got the Sunni mentality and so on. So it's still alive in various spots. But now kind of the only possible alternative that remains is maybe Allah's helping us conquer these Western nations by different means, by us having really terrible countries and we want to get out of them. And then we go to Western countries and eventually maybe we take them over. And we'll just take over. We'll become mayors of various cities and so on. Maybe that's how Allah is taking. That's like the last hope psychologically in Islam. So the alternative explanation for why Allah wasn't blessing you to do what you're supposed to do in this world, you had the Shia version, it just lost. The Sunni version is losing. Now kind of the only hope that they have that's left is based on Western leaders and stuff saying, yeah, just keep bringing in more, bringing in more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll show you how tolerant we are by making you leaders and letting you do whatever you want to tens of thousands of young girls and so on. If you can somehow crush that hope, there is no hope left, guys. There's just no hope left. Because it's a mentality of you're supposed to be dominating the world. And as soon as it's, well, we're not. And by the way, we talk lots about Muhammad Hijab's, that poll he ran years ago, not in the suit sense, but that poll he ran all those years ago where he asked Muslims, when he asked Muslims specifically, when you doubt Islam, what is it that's causing your doubts? And the number one answer was moral problems with Muhammad. That's the biggest cause of doubts for Muslims. But we don't always bring up the number two. Islam is number two, by the way. But the number two response was the weakness of the ummah. The weakness of the ummah causes them to doubt Islam because the ummah is not supposed to be weak. The ummah is supposed to be strong. And so, psychologically speaking, from an Islamic perspective, if you're a Shia, your hopes just got crushed, man. Like, how do you can still have some vague hope in the future, and that may work for some people, but a lot of people are just going to be devastated and, oh my goodness, we lost. It's not working. We're not taking over. We're not taking over the world. We're not defeating the Sunnis. We're not defeating anybody. We're toast. And the same sort of thing is going on with Sunnis. It's like, why? I mean, there's 2 billion Muslims and we can't beat a couple of Jews, man. We can't beat a handful of Jews. They run their mouth, oh, we're taking over the world. Inside, they are psychologically being destroyed. The world is not supposed to be like this. So as far as like big picture is concerned, you had 3 options. You had 3 options as far as like what could possibly happen that would be somehow consistent with Islam about how we actually move forward and Islam is going to turn out to be true. We didn't, Shias are right, and we just got to be strict. We just got to be really strict in imposing Shia Islam, or Sunnis. We have to be really strict in imposing Sunni Islam, or Allah's just doing it a different way. He's having us, he's letting our countries crumble horribly, and he's just going to use that to help us take over these places. Well, one of those just collapsed. The other one's collapsing, and if you could just deal with that third one, like stop thinking that you're going to take over Western nations by immigration and so on, and having lots of babies, someone could still believe in Islam, but that is going to be so massively psychologically traumatic that you're going to see. You thought the avalanche of apostasy was accelerating before. You're going to see it accelerating way, 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 way more. You're going to see mass exodus from Islam over this stuff. So anyway, that's kind of when I'm thinking, like, when I see something like this, I'm like, oh, you had 3 options. You just lost one. Now you're down to 2, and those 2 are not looking very good.
Makes sense, yeah.
I think the way Islam is going to be viewed is just going to be different. Like, you take someone like the New York mayor, Zohran Mamdani. It's just a very different version of Islam. It's like progressive, pro-LGBTQIA plus, it's, perspective, interfaith. And, that's never going to really get along with kind of mainstream traditional folks. There's going to be a clash. There's already, like, the greatest victims of like violence from Muslim folks are other Muslims. That's just the fact. So there is a tension that you're going to have because you have people like the Ismailis who are pretty progressive, right? That's just not going to jive well with people who are like, you hear people say, well, I believe in jizya and I believe in, you have to follow, the strict rules. You have to make sure you go to prayers at the, at the right times. And you're just going to have a clash. This is why I call Islam, if you ever saw a debate where I was debating about Islam, I would say Islam is polyolithic. There's so many different kinds of it. People think that Islam is this kind of monolithic narrative. It's not. There's so many versions of Islam. People accuse Christianity of that. But really, it's a little bit different because Christianity is very centered on Jesus. So yes, there might be different practices that Christians might do, but Jesus is the major focus, right? In Islam, it's very different because who the Prophet of Islam is very different. Depending on the Muslim you ask, he's a very different man. He's a very different person. For some people, he's, this person who, did conquest. And for some people, he's the spiritual master that he's looked up to. It's very different narratives. It's like a very different person depending on who you ask, if you know what I mean.
Hey, don't be defending Muhammad here, man. You get baked. You get baked here, buddy.
I know, I'm sure, but I'm being honest here. Like, you hear that this is the thing. There's a clash here, because you have Shias who are like very open minded and are like, yeah, this is my culture. I like doing this. The way I view this person's very different. Then you have people who are like, I whatever this narrative says, I follow it to the T. You know, I believe in everything. Child marriage, that's a go. You know, beating a wife, that's a go. Like, it just, having enslaving people, that's a go. Like, it just depends on what kind of perspective you have on this. And certain people have that perspective, other people have a very different perspective, and that's a clash. And you're going to have conflict, which is a little different than, because at first I thought this was actually a great difficulty for like the Christian community, that I was like, oh, there isn't like these codified rules for war and society and stuff. But in fact, it actually creates a level of flexibility. Being a Christian allows you to have a lot more flexibility in your society, because the focus is about Jesus. It doesn't really matter about the society. It's that Jesus, that you focus on Jesus' salvation, the salvation in Christ. That's the most important thing, right? That's the key of being a follower of Christ, is that you have salvation through him. So these other things, you have more flexibility in how you deal with them, as long as you're kind of under that guidance. But when you have these other things where there are textual things, you're kind of more confided, you're more stuck within that, which creates a lack of flexibility, if you know what I mean.
Hey, I was just wondering. Hey, how many Iranians we got watching right now?
I saw a bunch of them identifying as Iranian.
Yeah,
when
I
we
know.
first
I know some
started.
earlier, but I was just, hey, let us know if you're Iranian. Either still in Iran, or if you're Iranian outside of Iran and so on. Let us know if you are Iranian and tell us what you think right now. Are you mad? Are you mad about what just happened, or do you think it's good? We have Joe's here. He says, because of the work of David and Nabil, I've become interested in witnessing to Muslims, and am taking course in my MDiv program on that topic. Thank you, David. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
I see a bunch of them in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I see people saying do a poll, but I don't know how do you do that. I can't just say, are you Iranian? Oh, I guess I could say, are you Iranian? That would give us a percentage, a percentage of people of Iranian people who are watching. But let's see here. We got, I'm Iranian. Hey, we have a Syrian Iranian here. We have do a poll.
Okay.
All right, I'm just gonna do a poll. I think it's because it's gonna be a small minority anyway, because we have tons of people from who are interested in the topic who are watching, and then regulars who are watching and stuff. But I'll just go ahead and let's see. Start a poll. Are you Iranian? Weird question. Are you Iranian? But let's see. Start the poll. We'll find out what percentage. I would guess maybe 5%, 7% or something like that. That would be a lot. That'd be a lot of Iranians. Let's see. So yes, make a poll. I did, man. I just did.
Yeah, 5%, 6%.
And let's see. Hey, we have this. Look, I'm not Iranian. I didn't ask if you're not Iranian. Hey, now everyone's just sharing random.
Yeah, they're
I'm
just saying what
Filipino.
they are.
Let's see. Yes, come on, Persians. One of your Iranian. Then we got I'm half. I'm Iranian. Says I'm happy. Hello, Iranians. This one says I'm ironic. I'm ironic.
So there's about 500 votes in so far, and it's 5%
Yeah,
said
5%.
yes.
Ha! I'm pretty good, man. I guessed 5 to 7. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's 4. I was wrong. I overestimated. Indo-Aryan. Let me see. Let's take some super chats real quick while that's going. The Night of Al Zut was the last. Now epic, epic fury. I guess Operation Epic Fury. Ezra's Epic Fury, or Sagada's Epic Fury. Whose Mubahala will have a higher hikmah? Thus saith the cult of corrupted books perfectly preserved. Ida, hey, I thought Ida was going to sleep. I mean, he keeps. Oh yeah, David. Please next time ask your guest his age. I kind of regret getting a bit rough on him in the super chats yesterday. It was just a child, so I apologize to you and your guest. Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah, for anyone who didn't see it, I had like a long, like whatever, 4.5 hour discussion with a Muslim, and then at the end of it, he said, "Do you have any questions?" Like, how old are you? He said 17. I was like, oh. Not that that's fine, but yeah, I have the same. It wasn't so much that I was being, we were being nice in during the discussion yesterday. But before that, when we were going back and forth on X, I was calling him a liar about things and so on. And I wouldn't have said that to like a 17-year-old, even though, 17-year-old, you're like a grandfather in Islam standards. I bet Khamenei was furious and his fall was epic. No comment there. Is the wiener whining now? What do you mean, the Warner?
The Warner. Oh.
Pray for peace and conversions of Iranians to Jesus. Trump has the most powerful da'wah. Yes, he does. Please tell me where fire Islam to the ground over there. Oh, burn. Yeah, sorry, Issa, but it's got to go. Well, I don't want to burn Islam physically to the ground and stuff. I just want people to have the right to expose it and so on, and to preach and so on, and basic human rights for people who want to disagree with it.
What if Iran accidentally?
I think that's a good position.
What if Iran actually accidentally bombed the Kaaba? They just like started missiling like Dubai, Saudi Arabia.
Everyone, they started firing in all directions. What was crazy was because when the protests were starting, Trump said, "Hey, I got your backs." It was some of the Gulf nations that told him not to. They said, "No, don't do that." Yeah. And he kind of like, I think that was a lot of the delay. It was, "Oh, I thought you guys were going to be on board with this because you don't like these guys, and they've been causing trouble for all you guys." And it's like, no, we don't want you to do this. And they had their reasons and so on. So I think that delayed it and so on. But then that sort of went away pretty quickly when Iran's just like, "What you're doing? I'll bomb everyone. We'll bomb everybody in all directions." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, you got to go then."
I have a loved one in UAE, and they were telling me that there's bombs there, and they might have to pack up and go home because they're working from away from home to work in UAE, and it's just really scary. So
right now they're not letting anyone in or out. It's really bad, really bad.
It's really scary. That's the thing that I think we have to be aware of. We don't want any loss of life, and I think that I understand that this leader is just horrendous. It's just we have to be careful because we want to be careful that we mitigate the loss of life.
And Esmi Sagara says, "Wait a second, is that Issa with a cross in the background? Base Jew behavior." Yeah, what are you doing with a cross in the background? I'm assuming you're somewhere else, or you just like it.
Yeah, I'm at my work. Yeah, my work, we have this, so
hey.
I work at a spiritual center, so yes.
Interesting. So he works in a spiritual center with a big cross, and he's a Sufi Muslim Jew.
Right.
All right. Works in a place with a big cross. We have
I'm a very strange individual, I know.
No one has ever said you're not strange, man. No one.
Oh,
I've
and
never
I'm fine with
one
it.
person. Yeah. We have Javed Shah, B. Pish. YouTube channel Aussie Man Reviews has horrific photos of bodies. His wife is Iranian. Oh, we don't want to. Well, I don't want to look at those. As a result of this, both sides of Salman Rushdie's pillow will always be cold, and he will get lots of restful sleep. God bless old Rushdie. Yeah, I bet he's loving things right now too.
I told you about that movie, International Gorilla, which the whole plot of the movie was to kill Salman Rushdie. That was the entire plot of the movie. It was a Pakistani film. And yeah, it's just like the fatwa's over now. It's done, which I think is good. I'm with you. I think free speech is so important. It's such a treasure, and we don't even realize it. It's a gift that we have.
Rest in peace, Ayatollah. New guy. Welcome, Ayatollah Bob the janitor. Long may he be. Long may he, and he's dead. New guy, welcome, Ayatollah Bob the janitor. Long may and he's dead. Yeah, that's got to be a rough spot. It was like, and they already named like the next guy and stuff, but that's a sucky position. It was like when Israel took out like all the Hezbollah guys and like bombed their testicles off with pagers and stuff, and it's like, oh, here's our new leader. It's like, you seriously want that position? Like seriously? I wouldn't want that, even if I believed in it. I wouldn't want that spot. Here's Ma. She says, I placed a bet on the 28th in Poly Market and everyone left. Sirens are keeping us up at nights, but we're all super happy. May Iranians be free. I saw people were like betting on whether the Ayatollah was dead or when it was going to happen and so on. I saw people like flipping out. How dare you bet on these things? Yeah, that's quite a thumbnail, lol. Oh, yeah, that was just a picture of, that was some coming of age ceremony for young girls. And it's the Ayatollah here. And it's like, we've seen some of the stuff you guys have said over the years, and I don't think you should be around those girls. There's a crucifix behind Issa. Yep.
Exposed.
Seeking Allah, finding Issa. Imagine 80 million free Persian ex-Muslim now apostates, hopefully now Christian apologists. Well, most of them are not Christians. You have Zoroastrians and all kinds of other stuff, but there we have it. There we have it. Issa is the ex-cat kind of soul we want to win for Christ. Everyone in the chat, please pray tonight that Issa sees the truth and fully embraces the love of Christ. One of us. I'm getting old. I'm getting tired of so-called Christians that misunderstand Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. Synagogue of Satan. John is about talking about people who are claiming to be Jews, but we're not. It was also talking about people who were like persecuting the Christians and so on. So, yeah. That's a super sticker. Thank you. UK needs a prime minister like Trump. Love him.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much anyone on the planet would be a step up from what you guys got now in the UK. Perhaps Allah is musing, or he's relieving himself, or he's on a journey, or he's asleep and needs to be awakened. That's apostate of Allah quoting Elijah. World is better under Christian USA than Putin. I uploaded a video about life as an ex-Muslim woman married to a Muslim during Ramadan. Shameless plug. Oh, yeah. I remember when you were talking about making that video, so that's good. That's good. That's up. Everyone check out Apostate of Allah's new video. I arrived late, but yeah, getting the armed forces of Iran on board for a new regime is pretty critical. Trump and Israel haven't talked about occupying Iran, right? I'm hoping they don't occupy Iran. And it sounds like Trump is saying the people need to rise up. That's what he's been saying. This is the people. This is your chance. Now's your chance. Get up and do it. We're going to help you. But it has to be you. And that's kind of what I meant. You can't just be some sort of puppet regime of the United States or Israel or something like that. It's got to be the people. It's got to be the people rising up. Got to have security 100%. Forces. Yeah, got to have security forces already there to secure things. That's why it would be good if the armed forces that are there, actually switch sides. Matthew 17:20 has been on my mind lately. If we have faith as small as a mustard seed, nothing is impossible. We will reclaim Europe. Islam will fall. Oh, Islam's going to fall, guys. Islam's going to fall. In Trump's voice, strong objectives, so strong, incredibly strong. Some say they're the most strong. I walked in and I said, wow, these objectives are strong. Everyone said, you're right, you're very strong for saying that. I said, you're right too, I am strong. A lot of people got their 72 Zoot reward this weekend. They got a bang going out, and now it's stuck on replay. Yeah, it will be interesting seeing what happens in the near future as well. Love you, brothers. Hey, Eli, what's up, man?
Hey, Eli.
Once Persians released Jews from Babylon, that's how Purim came up. Purim, what is it, man?
Purim.
Purim.
You know what's funny? I was in a Purim play.
Hang on. Purim. No, hang on. I'm saying that because there was that movie, Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder, and why when he was telling him that he has to let this actor just die after he was captured by the drug gang, he said, "Let's face it, the kids aren't dressing up as Scorcher for Purim anymore." It's like, that's why you let him die. It's like super. They were making fun of Hollywood producers and how evil they are and stuff like that. Anyway, sorry about that. What was up?
It's a great movie.
And I was just
was
saying,
in a play.
that's when I heard, he said Purim. And so that's what I was just, I remember
Purim,
I remember
yeah.
Tom Cruise saying it, but we have Jaya here saying, no, you have to say Purim.
They're all good. You know, it's funny. I was in a play and I played Haman during the play at Hillel.
Wow.
So I was at Hillel. I was at my university's Hillel, and I played Haman, and it was just a great time. You know, playing a villain is really fun.
Oh man.
And it was like, you know, because like it's for the modern age, because you know it's like, you
The
know,
nicest
Hillel's
guy playing.
progressive. So, huh?
Yeah, nicest guy on the planet playing the evilest guy on the planet. That's what's funny. That's what we're laughing at.
Yeah, because the way it was done, it's like, you know, they said, "Hey, chat," you know, like they made it like for a modern audience, you know, and they were like, "So is this slapping? Is this party bussin'?" It was 20, you know, it's for like Gen Z, and it was really fun. I had a great time doing it. So, but they made it fun and comical. So,
Nice.
Purim. Biblical prophecy fulfilled. Jeremiah 39, 34 to 39. Khamenei and Trump equal Indiana Jones and man with knife. Oh, that was like the sword guy in Indiana just pulled out a gun and shot him. In the original, I think I've heard in the original he was supposed to have this big fight, but they all got food poisoning. He was really sick and he had to go to the bathroom, so he just pulled out his gun as a joke and went like that. And like Steven Spielberg's like, "Oh, that's way better." And we have Eli again. He says, Issa, Jesus loves you, brother, and we love you too. Now watch Issa start fuming. How dare you say that to me? The three trioine in one stream. Love you guys. Yeah, that's again a thing about Junior and his awesome argument. I don't see how this will go well in Iran. If it's up to the people to take control, won't this lead to multiple civil wars between different groups? Well, you do have people who want different things, but you do have quite a bit of support for the family of the Shah's family was exiled and stuff. So you have quite a bit of support for returning the Shah. You have quite a bit of support for people who just want democracy and so on. So it's not like in some other country where you have a bunch of like armed groups that all want to fight for power and then you just get a bloodbath. You have a couple of main positions, and any of them are massively better and stuff. So and a lot of people there are probably sick of violent regimes and stuff like that. So I think and I hope that they'll be able to work together. And either, if most people want the Shah back, then guess what? That's going to be massively better than what they had. If they get a democracy, that's going to be massively better than what they had. So
I agree.
Anyway, the point is, this is not a time to be like, oh, this is going to be a disaster. This is a situation where it looks way better than it would in lots of other places.
And it's sad the way it happened, but it did happen, and so we need to move forward and pray for the best for the Iranian people to have freedom and liberation from oppression.
I'm an Indian Christian. When will Trump urge Modi to protect Christians? There have been many violent incidents across the country. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I see no indication that there's going to be sort of intervention from Western governments over. And I've also heard from Indian Christians there. I've heard from Indian Christians who said, I've never seen a problem where I am. And I've had other Indian Christians say, it really sucks. It really sucks where I am. So I think in India, it has a lot to do with kind of the region of India that you're in there. Iranian here, the girls' school bombing is that they made bases near schools for human shields, and even then turned out to be a mistake done by IRGC. Yeah, those are the situations, because I've heard that. I saw a ton of people, that Israel bombed the girls' school. Why are they doing this? And I've also heard it was the RGC and so on. So these are the situations where I don't comment on until, more information comes out, because it's hard to figure out what goes on when everyone's saying something different. Proverbs 17:15, whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. He who's glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Islam is destruction. I am praying for them. Yeah, at the end of the day, we want what's best for everybody, but what's best for everybody is not Islam. UK needs people like you, David. Churches here need to rise up. God bless. Sadly, I'm banned from your entire country. This stream had a Christian named Muhammad and a Muslim named Issa. Never thought I'd see the day. That's funny. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so if you weren't here earlier, we had Muhammad Faridi on here, and he's a Christian. Then we've got Issa. That is funny.
I would love to talk to him more. He seems like a really nice guy.
Oh yeah, super cool, super cool. I'm glad he jumped in for a bit, even though he's busy. Does Issa ever stop working? Every live stream he's just typing and muttering to himself. God bless you, brother. Come to Christ soon. Yeah, you need to take a break, man. You work like 120 hours a week, man. You're always.
I do a lot of work because I do school. I'm a lot like Nabil. I'm always doing school, trying to get another program done, and it's exhausting. I need to probably retire and get married. Yep.
We have Ayatollah Muhammad Hijab. Yeah, no, Caliph. He thinks he's the Caliph. I saw him posting on that a couple years ago. Wouldn't it be great if someone became popular enough that he could unite the Ummah? Like, you're talking about yourself, you idiot. And no, it's never going to happen. You suck too much, and you're like a terrible tactician. No comment there. Allah's punishing us, so more cowbell. That's a good idea. All right, we got more Super Chats, but I don't want to just keep going through Super Chats all day. So let's check out another video clip. So we checked out Trump announcing things, and here we have, because it's been pointing out, you do have the 12er Shias who are actually mourning. So did want to point out that there are people mourning, with tons of videos of people celebrating in Iran and like tons and tons outside of Iran too. But you do have the ones who are mourning, so let's pay our proper respect to them and check this out.
We are going to rip them apart.
Oh, hang on, let me get this Super Chat out of the way. We're going to rip them apart. Say, look, lady, I was on your side. I'm not even joking. I didn't watch the clip. I just took a clip of Iranians saying Iranians are mourning and so on. And then the first thing, we're going to rip them apart. I'm like saying, hey, we should. Hey, I'm not even saying anyone should have any sympathy for you anymore. And I'm just saying, hey, you got people who grow up with a tradition of, you're just brainwashed all your life and so on. And so, this could be a very sad day for you, and I hope you get through it and realize that you lost and your position's probably false here and so on. So maybe want to think about that. Maybe you want to think about that in your first one. We're going to rip them apart. We're going to rip apart the Jews and the Americans. Death to them all. Death to it. It's like, oh, okay, all right. Your boy got crushed in your face. In your face.
Do you know what's sad? This actually reflects like movies like Delta Force. I don't know if you saw like Chuck Norris's Delta Force.
I saw all the Chuck Norris movies when we were kids, man. How did you see it? You're not that old.
No, I'm not that old, but I like old movies. I'm a big movie buff, so I've seen a lot of different movies.
I have to say Delta Force is one of the better ones, but most of those Chuck Norris movies were not terribly good.
No. The thing is, it was against, terrorists, and it's weird because it's like this over-exaggerated narrative. But the thing is that the people play right into the narrative. They're behaving just like those people from the movies, which is kind of shocking. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, they're like, we'll strike in the heart of jihad. I think he says that in the movie. That's one of the lines. I'm going to strike it in the heart of jihad. And it's like insane. It's insane. Gene Simmons actually played a terrorist in one, the Kiss frontman. He was in this movie with, do you know Rutger Hauer? He was like a big 80s action star, but he
was in Blind Fury, man.
He was in Blind Fury. That's a really great movie. He was in a movie called Wanted, Dead or Alive, where he plays like a mercenary. And he basically is fighting a guy named Abdul Malik or something like that Gene Simmons played. Gene Simmons looks like an Arab. He does it really well.
He's Jewish, man.
He is Jewish,
I
and he
know.
looks really like he looks very much like because the way he does it, like his hair is perfectly black, and he has the beard. He looks super Arab. He does the role very well. But yeah, it's amazing as a rocker. He became a very good actor too. But it was like just it's disturbing. You see these movies, and the people in real life are behaving just like the terrorists, and that's just it's very disconcerting to me. Like you should behave much better than this. You should be like, okay, have humility. Say, wow, what we did was wrong. It's interesting because when the Mongols invaded Baghdad, right? Ibn Taymiyyah actually took a position. He's like, wow, we really screwed up. We weren't praying right. We weren't doing right. And this is why, there was a place of mourning. It wasn't like anger. We're going to get retribution against the Mongols. It was like utter destruction. Baghdad was utterly ransacked, and I don't know. I think these people need humility. They need to have, some kind of dignity and just not like you're not the tough guy. You're not the tough guy here. You need to have humility and change the ways because what was going on wasn't working, and a lot of people suffered. So,
Yeah, and even with these, this woman here, like I'm still thinking, okay, you've probably been brainwashed all your life, and you can't like even comprehend another reality. And I'm hoping you learn something for all that, and it causes you to rethink these things. She didn't miss a beat. We're gonna kill them all apart. We're gonna kill them all. We're gonna kill them. We're gonna kill the kuffar. Oh gosh, really? Seriously? Let's see what she says here. We are going to rip them apart. It's funny. You're sitting there talking about like Delta Force and all this stuff. If I'm thinking of like Team America, World Police, when all the terrorists always talked, Durka, 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 Muhammad, Jihad, Allah, Allah, Jihad, Muhammad, Jihad, Allah. And that's what she reminds me of.
To rip them apart, hold these people accountable. We're going to rip them apart. They're being out of line. Martyrdom is our honour. It's our right and our leaders' unquestionable rights to be martyred.
This would not be a good time to. Okay, if you want. We want to be martyred. We want to be martyred. Oh my goodness.
They're being out of line.
ولی جسارت کرده.
Wow, you guys kind of suck.
You know what's weird? We've talked about this before, but we've heard this concept of martyrdom. Do these people not know basic Islamic theology? No one knows if you're going to heaven or hell. You can't promise that you're a martyr. You don't know that. This is just made up. Like it's a bid'ah. It's an innovation. That's the standard classical theology. And they keep saying this, and it's weird. Like I hear it more from the Christian circles, this narrative. But like Muslims don't seem to know this. They just made up this narrative that because they claim that they died, that they're now, promised heaven. You're not. Because you don't even know if you really were a martyr or not.
Yeah, hang on, Issa. So this is a point lots of people don't understand because you got these guys who will like, it happens a lot. Like it was so annoying. So you'd have these guys, and this was like 2015, 2016, and so on. You'd have someone who goes out and carries out a terrorist attack in France, and people would say, "Oh, but here's pictures of this guy 2 years earlier partying at the club. So see, he wasn't a real Muslim." And it's like, no, that's part of the issue. You get these guys who weren't living as Muslims, and all of a sudden they start taking their religion seriously, and they're looking back going, I don't know if my good deeds are going to outweigh my bad deeds here, so I'm in trouble. And then someone comes in, unless you die as a martyr, and then you're guaranteed paradise. See, here are the passages. A martyr's guaranteed paradise. And what you're pointing out is, how do you know you're really a martyr? How do you know you actually qualify as a martyr and you don't? I mean, Muhammad's told in the Quran to say, I don't know what Allah is going to do with me. And you think, hey, I'm going to go out and slaughter a bunch of people, and I know I'm good and get my virgins, and you might not want to rush into things so quickly. You might want to think through these things especially more than these people. Right? We all want to be martyred. We all want to be martyred. This is not a good time because you got people like dropping bombs on you if you're getting out of line. You're like, we're going to go out there. Ha ha. Okay, you're going to die. You're going to die. Yeah. I mean, this reminds me of Junior. I'm going to take the poison. I'm going to do. Okay, you're going to die. Don't do that. Don't do that. Lady, do not do that. Do not go out like when they're dropping bombs and I want to be martyred. Where's the bomb next dropping? I'm going to go. Oh, death cult, man. Death cult. And you just lost your stronghold, lady. Start rethinking. What's crazy is with some of the 12er Shias, it's kind of like a doomsday cult, in that they're waiting for the return of their imam and so on. But a lot of them believe that they have to be in like a hopeless situation where everything is crumbled. In other words, like their mentality for some of the like 12er Shia hardliners is not they're going to expand and take over the world. It's they're going to be in such a desperate situation with everyone attacking them that's going to bring about the return of the 12th Imam and so on, or the Mahdi or whatever. That they're like forcing the end times to happen. And it's like, bunch of you are going to die to find out how stupid and wrong you were. What's wrong with you? Cut the crap. Here was a clip of, so again, someone in Israel, someone said Netanyahu here announced it. Someone else before that from Israel announced it, and people weren't sure. And then Trump announced it. And then eventually Iran finally admitted it. And that's relevant because I saw lots of Muslims going, no, they're lying. He's alive and well. And he even had a plan for like escaping to Russia and stuff. But here's when the news broke that Iran confirmed it.
We have a bit of breaking news that has just come in. Right now, the Iranian state media is telling the people of Iran that the Ayatollah has been killed. Again, Iran's state-run media is now confirming that the Ayatollah has been killed. Earlier, we had reported this, citing President Trump, citing leaders in Israel as well. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, first announcing this.
Okay. Someone was right when they said Netanyahu announced it. Yeah. Okay. Right. So Netanyahu announced it, then Trump announced it. Now Iran.
But now we have it even from the Iranians saying that the Ayatollah has been killed in those strikes. Gabe Gutierrez is still with us right now. So, Gabe, this reporting confirming what the president had said earlier. And again, we can't stress enough sort of the magnitude of this moment right now. He had been there since 1989. This may change the game completely for Iran, change the region.
You think? This may change things for Iran. You think? Oh, wow.
And from what we've seen now, this strike and this killing of the Ayatollah has now started a regional war. Where it ends, we don't know. How much further it goes from tonight and into the morning over there, we don't know. But still a monumental moment.
Monumental indeed, Tom. When we think about it, the United States taking...
What's up with this horrible background noise in this clip? I'm guessing that dude's just the second dude's in a noisy area or something like this. Or they just have crap people for handling their audio.
Now, the supreme leader in conjunction with Israel. It is an incredibly historic moment here. And the president was alluding to this earlier in the day. He said that the people he had talked to, the intelligence, he believed that the Ayatollah had been killed. And now we have that acknowledgement from Iranian state media.
Hang on, this is funny. You gotta find this comment real quick. I gotta scroll down. Where is it? Come on, where's the comment, man? Here we go. You should have invited Hatun to watch this. I want to see her beautiful, hysterical laughter. Well, I know Hatun cracks up laughing when Somalis scam millions of dollars with fake daycares and stuff. That's the absolute hands down funniest thing in the universe to Hatun. I've never seen her crack up laughing as when she watches Somalis scamming millions of dollars for stupid people who are falling for it. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know what she would. I don't know if she would find this as funny or more funny or not. We'll have to find out one day. All right, back to this.
A huge surprises here that, as Richard was talking about earlier, that this war has already spread to other countries throughout the region. But this new development that Iranian state television now confirming the death of the Ayatollah is certain to ripple across the world very quickly. Now, right now, Tom, the president is at his Mar-a-Lago estate. He's expected to return here to Washington tomorrow. politically here in Washington, Democrats are vowing to force a vote to restrict his war powers next week. But really, Tom, with Republicans so far largely in lockstep with the president today, those votes aren't likely to go very far or do much other than to give lawmakers a chance to get their opposition on the record.
Yeah, so that's an interesting kind of side issue. There hasn't been any decision by Congress or anything to carry this out, so Congress could toss a monkey wrench in there. But he pointed out, well, most Republicans seem to be on Trump's side, so it doesn't look like his opponents will be able to do anything besides put their name in the record as opposing this somehow. So.
Here, that's what's happening in Washington. Across the world, this news that the Ayatollah is confirmed dead raises a lot of questions about how long this conflict drags on for, how long and how much American troops get dragged into this war. Certainly, we will be looking for any White House reaction in the next couple of hours. But again, the president had said it earlier today, and now we're getting that official confirmation from the Iranians. Hugely significant.
Yeah, that is an important point. That okay, they took out the Ayatollah. As far as what happens from here, it could be something quick. You could have tons of you could have the military switch sides and say, okay, we surrender and we're going to back the people now and so on, and so it could go quickly or something like that, or it could be a huge mess. There could be a huge, long, drawn out mess and so on. And we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we'll be finding out more as this happens. I have to say, I just remembered, man. I said this is going to be the best Ramadan ever.
You did say that, yeah.
I said this is going to be the best Ramadan ever, and you had the collapse of the Iranian regime. Oh my goodness, man. That by itself would make this the best Ramadan ever, ladies and gentlemen. That by itself, because this is an evil, sick, evil regime, man.
Yep.
I had a question. So the Ayatollah said he wanted to escape. He wanted to escape before, an assassination attempt. Is that correct, or did I misunderstand that?
He had a plan for him and his most loyal people, and I'm assuming his family and so on, that if it looked like they were going to be taken over or something like this, then he was going to flee to Russia like Assad did. So apparently he just wasn't taking it as seriously, or didn't think it was going to happen that quickly, because they caught him in his office. They bombed him when he was in the office of that compound.
It's interesting to me because I think of in the Titanic, where the captain was like, "I'm going down with the ship." That was the idea. He said, I have this integrity that I want to make sure that if everyone gets off, it's fine. I'm willing to go with the ship. And that sort of level of integrity. And then you see these other people where it's they claim all of this stuff, but they don't really believe in anything that they say. It's just a bunch of garbage.
In other words, he's the leader. He's the leader of the regime. He's the leader of the country. He's their leader. And sitting here praising martyrdom. And as soon as people come to attack, I'm going to run to Russia so I can live my life there with my family. And you guys deal with the fallout. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. That's the point.
The leaders of Hamas do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you've had other people historically who were like the opposite. And the first person that popped into my head was John McCain. Whatever you think about him politically, or and so on, he was a war captive, and they found out his dad was like an admiral or something like this. So they were going to release him. They were going to release him first, and so on, to get along in the negotiations and stuff. And he said, I'm not going anywhere until everyone else is released. So he stayed, being in a total crap hole, being tortured and stuff like that, because he said, you're not letting me go just because I have an important relative or something like that. I'm not going until everyone else goes. So you gotta respect that sort of thing. All right, got one more clip here. Let's take a couple super chats and we'll watch one more clip, guys. I think that Islam and or socialism are prime candidates to be so evil that the Antichrist could unite the world by destroying them, which is to say they may well be sacrificial pawn. Hey, that's an interesting theory. It's not Islam that is going to be the Antichrist or socialism. It's going to be someone who stands up when people are so sick to death of Islam and socialism and so on. Someone destroys them, and that's actually going to be the Antichrist. I don't know enough about this stuff to comment. But I don't think Islam is the Antichrist. I think it's crumbling in front of our eyes and that it's too weak to do anything. Zut's story is now mainstream. Tons of Christians are using it against Muslims on X. Oh,
I saw that. It was like 1.6 million views.
We've noticed such things. What has 1.6 million views?
Some TikTok guy who uploaded his video to X. It was on Zut. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Look, Issa, we know you're cool and stuff. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Why don't we see more prominent Shia Dawa people? Well, you do see Shia Dawa people and so on, but yeah, they're just it's a much smaller group, so they are more rare, and they might not put as much emphasis on it as some of the Salafi types and so on.
I think it's harder to be persuasive because it's more like esoteric and niche. It's hard to like persuade people of that. I think when you see the sort of Salafi da'is, it's a very simple narrative. It's a narrative like, oh, the Quran is scientific. Oh, Islam is just, it gives you order. It's very, very simple and direct. Shia is a lot more complex, and it's very focused on imams and, this kind of lineage. It's not that easy to really convey to like a common to a lay person in trying to persuade someone of it,
I just sent it to you now. It's actually got 1.7 million views now.
Hey, this dude, I've never seen this dude before, but that's funny. I'll see if I can get that ready here in a second. We might check it out. We might check out this this Zut video. Always good to have you got to love a good Zut video. I mean, not an actual video of something going on like that, but I mean, someone talking about the Zut story. Got to love that. Let's see. Did Mo promise that the Ummah would always be strong? Not that the Ummah would always be strong, but Islam is supposed to keep expanding until it takes over the world. So you can have all sorts of bumps and twists along the way. That would be completely consistent. But it is ultimately supposed to take over the world and dominate the world. And so the idea here is if it just looks like Islam gets into a position of weakness and everyone else is massively more, you can kind of put that off for a little while. Maybe this is just Allah testing us. Maybe this is Allah punishing us. But you do all the stuff to kind of correct course. And if none of it works, you can still hope for the future and, something's going to happen in the future and so on. But, the longer it goes on where you're just declining and everyone else is becoming more and more powerful and unstoppable, it's like the doubt is building. The doubt is building. Hey, Issa, you got a question here, man. Who is Muhammad to you, Issa? You've piqued my interest. So we've heard about the Muhammad we're familiar with, and yet here you are, always praising and defending Muhammad as the greatest man ever. And so people are wondering, what the heck do you mean by Muhammad, man?
Well, so the Muhammad that I grew up with was more like a Sufi version. It's not this version. It's a completely different person. Let's put it that way. Completely different person. There's some of the highlights of the story that are the same, but just the kind of characteristics, it's a very, very, I know I don't want to hijack the stream about this, but it's a very, very different person.
Oh, you don't want to try that with us.
You're funny. Yeah, that's funny. But it's just, the kind of person, it was like a person who was compassionate, understanding, nothing like when I went to graduate school, I was like, oh, there's a very different narrative here. Like I learned about Gazu and stuff like that it was very different. It was just a very different character. You know what I mean? And when we had our conversation, I explained that. I said, these are very different There's different archetypes that exist on who this person is. So,
The Muhammad that you believe in.
So
I didn't even ask my question, man. You may see where I'm going.
Sorry,
with this.
please.
But let's see. So, the Muhammad you believe in, do you think that was actually the Muhammad of history, or is just this like some sort of like religious figure that you think, hey, it's good to believe in this guy, but not necessarily like what Muhammad actually was historically?
So it was interesting. The spiritual guide that I kind of grew up with said there was 19 Muhammads. So that it was even.
That's why I wanted to ask you that stuff, man, because I knew there was going to be something weird going on.
Yeah, there's something weird going on. There was like an Muhammad. It was very different. There was just Muhammad was more like an archetypal figure as opposed to.
That's what I was wondering. I was thinking it might be something like that, and so.
It was archetypal. It was the historical figure. When I went and studied and learned these materials, I was like, oh yeah, this is a very complex being. It's interesting because we've talked about Al-Risala, the message, right? And the version that Mustafa Akkad saw as Muhammad is a very different version too. It has some of the highlights, but it's different. Like his understanding was the interpretation, the conversation with the Arabs and the Muslims. There was really no Jews. If you watch the movie, there's no Jews or Christians in it. They talk about them, but they don't exist. And what's also funny is they quote the gospel and they quote the Hebrew scriptures. They quote these texts at a certain point in the film. You should see that scene. And it's really funny when I hear Dais talking about it, like it's corrupted. And I'm like, this movie is actually asserting that these texts are real and legitimate. And the movie is actually gets a check mark from Al-Azhar University. So it's kind of a fascinating sort of disconnect. But I do think that the academic narrative is very different than kind of a spiritual Sufi narrative. It's just a very different person. So when I first read about like Jesus in like the New Testament, I read it when I was a teenager. I read the whole gospel when I was a teenager, and I was like, wow, I really like this guy. I like philosophically, I'm like, oh, this guy really resonates with me, So that was a very interesting kind of situation. I was like, oh, like all the teachings make sense and the wisdom makes sense, and so.
All right, so
that was just kind of the background that I had.
Issa, we're going to take a few more super chats, and then we're going to check out that Zoot video that went viral. So you might want to cover your ears for that when we check that out. You can cover your ears for the Zoot video. Anyway, I got it rendering right now. I cropped it and fixed the volume and stuff like that. Volume was a little lower than I used and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll check that in a second. After I transfer it, no comment there. I have an honest question. What's with all the Ramadan ads about starving kids? Happens every year, and it's weird. I mean, YouTube's going to run ads of whoever's paying. So yeah. If people are saying, hey, help feed people for Ramadan, YouTube's going to run those ads as long as they're paying. Issa, I have a great respect for your heart posture and mindset. Where are you theologically these days? What would it take for you to come to Christ? Learn from your own name, man. Like what more?
I really love your audience. I appreciate the audience here. They're very sweet. They're very kind. It's interesting. I listened to Mossab Hassan Yusuf, and he was on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan was trying to pressure him and put him in a spot. And he's like, well, you got baptized and you think Jesus is amazing. And he's like, I don't identify with that term Christian, but he's like, I really respect and love Jesus. And it was really interesting how Piers Morgan was trying to force him into a spot. And I was like, this is kind of gross. It's kind of really disgusting in a way, where he was trying to manipulate Mossab Hassan Yusuf to kind of convey that perspective on his kind of spirituality. I would say, like, with me personally, like, I'm in my own spiritual journey and quest. And I definitely the gospel is a very powerful scripture. I've never, you notice, like in any debate, I've never said anything against the gospel ever. I've never taken.
You always talk trash about the gospel, man.
And it's very different. You notice that, like, when we had our conversation, I didn't say anything about Jews. I didn't say anything, like, because I would be attacking myself, right? I didn't say anything about Jews, and I didn't say anything about, like, the gospel. And I was like, it was an interesting kind of space, because I've noticed that a lot of Muslim debaters, that's their thing. They attack the gospel, they attack Jews. They, like, even Nadir, I don't know if you saw his one debate, where he had this debate with this atheist, and he was like, the mustard seed isn't the smallest seed, so this proves that the Bible is false. And I'm like, he doesn't mean it, like, literally. Like, I don't, like, this is, like, common sense, right?
Well,
and I'm like, yeah.
What I think is weird is that you thought I would watch a Nadir. You thought I might watch a Nadir debate. Like, I don't know if you've watched this. Chance is pretty darn slim, man, of me watching a Nadir debate.
Nadir is, you should have seen him with the Warded Eye, though. The Warded Eye did a master class with the Nadir. It was hilarious. It was it was very funny. I had a good time with it, but I like the Warded Eye a lot.
Shout out to the Warden Eye.
Hey,
he's a good guy.
Oh, yeah. You had a follow-up here, which is interesting because you just kind of brought it up yourself. But the 2 comments after was, Issa, what are your favorite words of Jesus?
Well, I really like the Lord's Prayer. I think it's a really, really beautiful prayer. It's actually it's very close to at least the kind of perspective that I had with, like, Al-Fatiha. I know there's different ways you can read that story. You can read it in a very toxic way. Like the Wahhabis have a very nasty way of reading it. But I really like the Lord's Prayer. I think it's a very beautiful prayer where, forgiving those who trespass against you. I think that's such a powerful thing because, and I think this is what makes, like, Jesus such a phenomenal figure of history. Like, I actually disagree with Michael Hart's position of the most influential character, his historical person. He said it was the Prophet of Islam. I actually think it's Christ. I think Jesus Christ is definitely the most influential.
I think obviously the irony are, well, I mean, apart from all the issues, I mean, people don't realize Michael Hart's a white nationalist who believes that all other races are inferior to white people and need to be kept separate. And the reason Muhammad had such a big impact is because there's so many stupid people in the world, and they fell for Muhammad. It's like, this is what you guys keep quoting as proof, like a white nationalist saying, look at all these people who were so biologically dumb that they fell for this and, like, screwed up the entire world. And that's like that's his position. But what I always found odd, just the original list before I knew this other stuff. And he's not a historian; he's a scientist. He only got it published because his dad owned a publishing company. He, like, put out his theory, and then you listen to, like, Ahmed Deedan and stuff, and one of the greatest historians in the world. He's not a historian at all. He's a dude who has some really weird ideas, and he believes that you are intellectually inferior to white people and so on. It's like, this is what you guys keep quoting to show that your religion is true. But before I knew any of that about him, just looking at the list, what was surprising to me was he had Muhammad #1 and so on. Then he had, like, his top 5, and he had Paul and Jesus in there and stuff like this. But if you look at the rest of the list, it's like 90% Christians and Jews, and it's like it's like, well, if Muhammad had such a big impact, how did he not make more people who impacted the world on your list?
That's a very good point.
Yeah. And so I was just wondering that, like, if you're, like, really having this big impact, wouldn't you be impacting other people who then go on to make a big impact and so on? So I thought that was a little odd.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. To finish answering the question, I always thought that was such a powerful passage because it's like, from that time, like, a lot of us, like, even if we watch movies and stuff, we kind of seek vengeance. Like, if someone hurts us, we want revenge. We want to, whoever does something wrong by us, we want to get back at them. But this kind of teaching is such a high level teaching where it's like, if someone hurts you, you forgive them. And that's tough. That's a really hard thing to do. It's a very powerful thing to do. And, it's something that I think about a lot. I always try to forget, like, if someone hurts me, I always try to practice forgiveness because it's tough. It can be tough. Like, when someone really does you wrong and makes you mad and hurts you, you're just like, you listen to that type of teaching and you're like, you know what? I have to forgive them. I have to not allow this to control me and hurt me. And that's kind of what I feel. So the Lord's Prayer is definitely something that really is powerful. And it's linked because like God forgives us, like that linking of us being able to forgive others and God forgiving us. It's kind of a very powerful axiom for
Hey, look at this. We got My Fairy Tale Life saying, debate the Islamic dilemma with Issa based on his Islam. Lol. Maybe you haven't been watching. Issa's kind of on our side on the Islamic dilemma.
I'm 1,000% on your side. I'm writing my master's thesis on it. Like it's actually, I think Christians are completely correct. And I think Muslims have to do a pivot shift. I think they have to say, look, we got to reconcile these texts, and it might be impossible, but that's the route. You have to take the route of reconciliation. You can't take the route of going against it, because if you're going against the text, you're going against God. That's the only way I can see it. The narratives I've heard from like Apex Muslim, Dean Responds, Daniel Haqiqatu.
It's D's response.
Huh?
It's D's response.
Oh, D's response. All of them. I've listened to all of them, and none of them, Jake, Bracatello, none of them make a compelling argument that needs to be done for this. They just are like, well, the text is wrong. And I'm like, are you saying God is wrong? You're saying, well, God selectively chose this text to preserve. But I'm like, but the text that God is choosing to preserve is dependent on these other texts. Like, as a person who's read the entire Quran, you have to look, like, for example, there's a chapter in the Quran called Yusuf or Joseph, right? You don't know any of the details if you don't read Genesis or Bereshit. You have to read the text to know what's going on. It doesn't even mention Benjamin, who's like a central figure to the narrative. You know what I mean? Like, you have to read the Bible to understand that story. You don't understand it in completion. But then I hear people say, well, I take whatever, I use circular reasoning. I do the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Whatever fits in my thing, I'll circle it, and I always get a bullseye. And I'm like, this is nonsense. It's really bad logic, and it's bad reasoning, and it's bad theology. It's just really bad theology.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. So Moo Cow said, why is he still... Moo Cow, you haven't been around here sometimes, but he says, why is he still a Muslim if he thinks Christians are correct regarding the Islamic dilemma? Yeah, I've actually said this for the past couple years. I've said that if for some reason I were to ever conclude that Muhammad was a prophet, I said I couldn't just somehow ignore everything I know about the Islamic dilemma. I said I would have to somehow harmonize it. I would say, okay, let's look at these texts. Okay, the Quran's got one verse that Muslims think is denying the crucifixion, and that is open to multiple interpretations because it's a minority position of other Muslims and so on. The majority position has always been that that's denying the crucifixion, but it's not terribly clear, whereas the gospel is perfectly clear that Jesus died by crucifixion. So I'd look at that and I'd say, okay, this one's confirming this one is way more clear, and so I'm going with that one. I'd have to kind of go down the line like that. So yeah, if you understand that the Quran is affirming the previous scriptures, you got two basic routes. Therefore, the author of the Quran didn't know what he's talking about, and I reject that. Or you harmonize them in some way. I did find it interesting that when Issa was asked, what his favorite quote from Jesus is, he went with the Lord's Prayer, because it's very different from what Issa prays when he's all like, and may Allah curse the kuffar. May Allah curse them and destroy their whole family lines. And then he's talking about the cool words of Jesus and so on. So anyway, that's cool. Hang on. So we got this video here that actually ties into this. Make 30 polls for Islam to become more flexible in the Zut sense. Talking about the poll we ran. And Al-Zudian, Cult of Sagara. All right, let's go ahead and check out this video. How many views did you say this got, Jai?
1.7 million.
On what, TikTok?
On X.
On X, 1.7 million views on a Zut video on X. Okay, guys, we're going to check this out here. I have not seen this. I only found out about it right here while we're live. So let's see what this guy said.
Did you know that the Prophet Muhammad had intercourse with 30 black men in one night? The story is narrated by Ibn Masud, a close friend of Prophet Muhammad.
Hey, so this was on TikTok. I was wondering, hey, does anyone want to look up on TikTok what this got on TikTok? Jesus and Whatnot. So Jesus and Whatnot is the channel. Issa, cover your ears, man. Cover your ears. Look away, child. Look away. Here we go.
He says that one night, Prophet Muhammad took him out to the desert and drew a line in the sand and told him not to cross it. Muhammad then says that if he does cross the line, he will perish or be punished.
Or get wrecked.
Once it becomes nighttime, Ibn Masud narrates that a bunch of black people came out with their hair and their bodies fully exposed, not wearing any clothes. Ibn Masud then says, and again, I'm not joking, that they came and started writing the messenger of Allah all night long. Many Muslims will try and say that this hadith is not authentic, but keep in mind, it was written by a friend of Muhammad. Not to mention, it's not only in one hadith, but two. Other Muslims will try and claim that this word writing doesn't actually mean writing. However, other Islamic texts literally use the exact same Arabic word to describe riding an animal. Not to mention, the same phrase is also used as a euphemism for intercourse.
Whoa, he got that from you, Jai.
Yeah, that's our translation.
Yeah, interesting. So this guy did his research on some of our responses.
This Arabic dictionary literally defines it as having intercourse. It only gets worse from there because we actually know why Muhammad would want to be ridden by all of these men. You see, there was a myth going around in Muhammad's time that said if you receive the semen from another man, you are actually able to have the same strength as that man.
Okay, he definitely got that from my video. So for anyone who didn't see my video on that came from IP, Inspiring Philosophy, as far as he was talking about. I was talking about the Al-Zut story and so on, and then IP. We were in New York. This is when we were in New York because we went up there to Times Square to have open debates, and God Logic, Lady Logic, IP were at lunch and stuff. And I was talking about that, and IP said, that reminds me of some of the weird stuff I read when I was preparing for my debate with Daniel Hakikachu. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, I had to read all this weird stuff because he's going to all these weird sources and stuff like that to defend child marriage. And so I had to read all the sources that he quotes, and I was reading about some of their weird beliefs in the ancient world. And there were places in the ancient world that believed that that men could inject their virility, like men inseminating, adolescents and stuff like this, actually gave the adolescents the strength of the men who were injecting them and stuff. And so it's like this weird thing. And so I was like, wait a minute, that would give a totally new meaning to Muhammad has the strength of 30 men. It would mean it's like 30 men injected their strength into Muhammad. So it's a theory. We're just trying to make sense of all these sources and so on. But I mean, it fits. Muhammad is a caravan trader. The men of Al-Zut were especially, this came from Raymond Ibrahim, that the men of Al-Zut were renowned for their virility and sexual potency. So if you wanted to try it, you'd want the most virile, potent men around. They had this saying that the penises of the men of Al-Zut never go flaccid. So these guys are always ready to go sexually and stuff. And so Muhammad's like, I really want the strength of a bunch of these guys. I'm just going to take one for the Ummah and go out into the desert and become the most manly, virile man who's ever lived. But anyway, so I put that in a video, and our friend here is
He's got 1.3 million on TikTok and 1.7 million on X.
Oh, hats off to you, man! Everyone, if you're, I'm still not on TikTok. We are going to be invading TikTok shortly, not in the Zut sense, but we're going to be invading TikTok. But if you're already on there, definitely check out this guy.
This is so important because the hadith says that the people Muhammad slept with were as if they were Zut. This is a reference to the Al-Zut, who were known for their sexual prowess and strength. So Muhammad, police be upon him, or I guess Al-Zut be upon him, was trying to gain the strength of these Al-Zut. This is probably why Sahih al-Bukhari brags that the Prophet had the strength of 30 men. Actually, no, he didn't just have it, he was given it. You would probably expect someone to be extremely exhausted from all of this riding, and that's exactly what Muhammad experienced. He returned very weary and exhausted due to what he had ridden. Poor Muhammad, he probably needed some comforting after that. Which is exactly why Muhammad then puts his head into the lap of his friend and falls asleep there. Seems like maybe Muhammad was looking for a little bit more al-Zut. Keep in mind, Muslims, Muhammad is the perfect example of how we are to live. I can't wait to see all of you getting zooted this Ramadan.
Oh my
God
goodness.
bless.
Pretty wild, pretty wild. Hey, you're not talking to us, are you? You talking to someone else, Jai? Okay, I saw your mouth moving. Didn't know if you. All right. All right, Issa, you can listen again, man. You can listen again. That young guy, can't hurt you anymore. IP said, left a super chat, said, I'll never forget how excited David looked when I told him this. It's like a light bulb clicked for him when he connected all this to the al-Zut. Yeah, it was like, oh, this makes sense of multiple different passages and so on. They all like come together now. Interesting. That's a mark of a good theory, ladies and gentlemen. It accounts for lots of different data from, anyway, cool times. Al-Zudian, the cult of Sagara. When it turns out good, oh, yay, sweet Iranian. Yeah. Issa, spot-on analysis of Islam's problem. Issa is going to be a cool Christian. Yeah, that's what we all think. So, Ayatollah, who lost the Mubala? Ooh, good question. Highway 53, latest vid, had to leave for bunker many time. Highway 53, don't know what that is.
He's the Israeli Messianic Jew. And he does like a lot of videos around Israel, like preaching the gospel.
Okay. Issa is the Trioween of Abrahamic religions. Was Club Pyru at Issa's play? No. Club Pyru. How's the Israel?
No, I think they would be terrified because there's too many Jews there. I think, there was way too many Jews. I think that they would say it's a complete Mossad operation.
We have how's the Israel and USA are evil camp viewing this. They're viewing it as Israel and USA are evil and Iran good. The Iranian regime, very good. This war is just to distract from Candace Owens' documentary. Yeah, she does say things like that. Like, this assassination was to distract from my powerful documentary. It's like, oh my goodness, you got a big ego. To answer to why the IRGC placing school girls in harm's way, Quran chapter 9, verse 111. Oh, no, I'll grant that it's possible. I'm just saying I'm not going to come to any conclusions till more information comes in. If Islam is false, Issa is awesome. If Islam is true, Issa is awesome. Either way, Issa is awesome. Therefore, Issa is awesome. That is a pretty compelling case there. See, Issa ever watch the movie Jim Cotta? If not, add to the list. Well,
yes, I have.
Issa's seen. I was thinking Issa's seen every movie I've ever heard of. So,
yeah, Jim Cotta is it was actually an Olympian who had to do like martial arts. So he did it's like Olympic martial arts where he does like the the pommel horse and he spins around and he has to go into this island to find to save this kingdom. It's a weird movie. It's a weird 80s movie, and his father is on the island, and it's very strange. It's a very strange movie, and it's got classic like B movie 80s actors in it, like martial arts actors in it. I think he was in a. I don't know if you know Cynthia Rothrock is, but she was like a famous like 80s martial artist. So it's like a martial arts film.
I just checked this out. Did you see the news of Austin, Texas, property of Allah hoodie, Quran and car shame? No, as I mentioned, I was out doing family stuff today, so I hadn't followed it. I haven't been following any. I haven't seen any of that, but I just looked it up. Says, suspect in Texas shooting wore property of Allah clothing and Iranian flag emblem, AP source says. A law enforcement official tells the Associated Press that the gunman who killed 2 people at a bar in Texas early Sunday was wearing a sweatshirt that said property of Allah and another shirt with an Iranian flag design. And so, let's see. A gunman wearing clothes with an Iranian flag design and declaring property of Allah killed 2 people and wounded 14. Oh, Sunday, at a Texas bar, a law enforcement official told the Associated Press the FBI is investigating the shooting, which erupted a day after the U.S. and Israel launched an attack on Iran, as a potential act of terrorism. Yeah, that is one thing to be concerned over. You do have people who are loyal to that regime scattered around the world. And so it is a concern that people are just going to just go open fire and stuff like that. So be on guard, be on guard. So what does Issa believe about heaven? Genuinely curious. Probably something weird.
Well, it's interesting because my idea of what like an afterlife was actually kind of similar to what I've seen certain Jews and Christians have that. And it's like you're kind of in the presence of God. Like that's what I thought. Like that's what a heaven would be. It's not stuff. It's not like a mercantile capitalist thing where you get stuff and endless pleasure. Like that was never an idea of what I would thought an afterlife is. But I thought it would be like you're in the presence of God. You know, that's pretty simply what it is.
You heard it here, folks. 72 virgins being deflowered forever. 72 hormonal teens. Sounds like hell to me. That was funny that was the next super chat. Trump, I'll make this the best Ramadan Bamathon ever. Oh, it is. Historically, the Ramadan Bamathon has been like jihadis blowing places up during Ramadan because they think they'll get their reward is doubled. But this is a different Ramadan Bamathon, man. This will crack you up. Search Jacob Saidri, slight misunderstanding. It's a 12-second reel. You won't regret it. I'm not going to play that now, but I'll check it out for later. Jacob Saidri, slight misunderstanding. I will check that out in a bit. Something popped up on... Oh, it's on it's on a various sites, so yeah, it must be. Big Muhammad will be the #1 name for Christians in the Middle East. Oh, how awesome would that be? And like, so many Muslims convert to Christianity that Muhammad is the most popular name for Christians in the Middle East. How do I get Issa my Quran translation to proof text? You'll have to message him. This is Trump's version of the Ramathon Bamathon. It's two people who said that. Spelling to get past censors. Oh, you couldn't spell. The other one couldn't spell Bamathon either. That's interesting. It's interesting you can't spell Bamathon because that's not like a normal word that you would think censors would pick up. I'm on my knees begging Issa to please come home. Actually begging Issa. What the heck is wrong with you? No sympathy or empathy whatsoever. Issa, what are the tenets of Islam that you resonate with, and do you believe those are followed today by mainstream Muslims? Hope I worded that well. Guys, we're talking about the death of the Ayatollah, and it's become, hey, 40 questions for Issa.
I'm so sorry. I apologize that this is happening, but do you want me to answer it or not?
Hang on. Since there's so many of them, I'll just ask you a couple in batches, and then you can kind of respond to them. So this one's,
Sure.
What resonates with you about Islam. Let's see. Issa sounding like AP, but smarter. Take that, AP. Nice. Then we have Issa, massive respect for you. You're a great guy. What holds you back from Christianity? And okay, those are a couple of them right there.
Okay, so for the first question, well, I like the thing that I think is really what I like about Islam, and I wish Muslims actually did it. I don't see it happening, but it should be done, is like helping those who are disenfranchised. I think that was a message, at least like academically earlier on, was the kind of compelling for people who didn't have resources. Like I'm finishing up my degree in social work, so that's something I care about, is people who are disenfranchised being able to get resources that they need. Some people have like mental health stuff and they need to be able to have access to these things. And I wish that there were more spaces. There are some Muslim charities, but not nearly enough, at least in America. But I know, Muslims are only like 1% of the population, but I would love to see more of that, where it's like, hey, I'm going to give charity, I'm going to support and help people. There's a lot of Jewish charities I see a lot of Christian charities, but I would love to see more Muslim charities and a more focus on that. I've only seen like a handful, which I think is really, really unfortunate. But that's something I really believe in, is helping those who are disenfranchised, and people who are orphans, people who are poor. That's a tenet that I like. Um, I mean, you do see it in other traditions too, but I think that that's something that I care about. I do a lot of volunteer work. That's what I spend a lot of my time doing, is I go to like soup kitchens and I serve on houseboats.
Interesting that you're bragging about that sort of thing. We're going to have to read a chapter called Matthew 6.
Well, I hear you. I don't know if I would say it's I'm just explaining this situation. It's just something that I value and care about. I don't think it makes
something I value because I'm the best person you've ever met in your entire
I'm
life.
Nobody. I'm not important at all. But thank you. I appreciate that. Nobody. But yeah. So to answer that would be the one question. What was the second question? It was I don't remember.
What holds you back from Christianity?
Oh, are they the same thing as this one? I think they're probably both the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, basically.
I don't know if I would say there's something that holds me back.
No, there was Issa sounding like AP but smarter.
Right.
In your face.
AP and I had a conversation about, is Islam violent, a long time ago, like 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. Maybe it's 3 years ago now. But yeah, it was my first conversation on modern day debates, and we had a really interesting conversation. We became buddies after that, and like every modern day debate I saw him, we were just like, oh yeah, we're really cool. We actually we talked about the junior debate, because I was with him at that debate con with the junior debate, and that was rough. The junior debate with AP. I don't know if you've seen that one, but boy, oh boy, I
only saw a clip.
That was Junior's second outing. I was there for the whole thing, and I was like, wow, this is intense.
And then Jai vowed to make Junior the new face of Dawah, and here we are, 2026. Awesome.
I think he's a really good Christian apologist. I think he's an excellent Christian apologist.
People have listed him on their list of top Christian apologists. So it's pretty cool.
I saw him on GodLogic's debate. I don't know if you saw that. It was quite entertaining. But one of the Q&A said, I was questioning Islam, and then I saw the debate, and Junior he brought me into Christ. Junior's beautiful rhetoric brought me into Christ.
Yeah, a woman named Layla. Yeah. Interesting. Hey, here's an interesting point. Do you think Sunnis will just take this as proof that Shias are not approved by Allah instead of a defeat of Islam itself? Here's the issue, right? If it weren't the U.S. and Israel doing the bombing, then they'd probably be looking at it a little differently. But here's the real thing: Sunnis have been fighting with Iran, and Iran has been killing Sunnis for a long time, and they couldn't stop them. And all of a sudden, like, the U.S. and Israel go in there and just take out the leader with no problem, right? So as far as that goes, even that's going to bother them. Like, why couldn't we deal with it, but these guys can? Why, Sunnis are like 85 to 90% of Muslims. We couldn't stop this guy, but the U.S. and Israel can just go in and stop him anytime they want. That is kind of traumatic. But yeah, you will have some viewing it as, yep, you see, Allah is taking them out by, other people's hands and so on. The only way I can resolve the differences is with the Islamic trilemma, theistic relativism, and Allah's a cosmic trickster. By the way, 16 more days, David. Okay, until I get the reminder. All right, I got it. Thoughts on Pakistanis attacking the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan? Those Pakistanis have less humanity than Resident Evil zombies. I don't have any thoughts on it because I haven't been.
Yeah, there's also a war between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Apparently they attacked the U.S. Embassy here in Islamabad.
Pakistan is really something I think about a lot. It's really tragic, like from the South Asian narrative. It's just, I wish Nabil was here too, because I would love to hear his thoughts on Pakistan after becoming a Christian. Like, because the whole identity of Pakistan is like, I hate to say this, you're like an Indian Muslim. And it's like the whole point is, I'm just really proud of this Muslim identity that I need to have a country. Both Pakistan and Bangladesh, that's the whole identity, is that I'm a Muslim brown person. You know what I mean? That's like literally it. There's no difference besides that in being Indian. You know,
it really sucks because both Pakistan and Afghanistan, if they didn't have such screwed up ideas screwing everything up, there's lots of like beautiful places there. They would be like
there is.
There would be like they would be like, I mean, they could be doing way more with the territory they have. They would be popular tourist attractions from all the awesome stuff they have, and they just screw it up, man. They screw it up. The Al-Zoot didn't increase Muhammad's literacy rating. Well, he didn't go out there and have their literacy injected into him. So I remember that stream when IP told you about that. I was playing Minecraft when it happened. Issa, you're a good sport. God bless you.
Thank you. Nice BFP.
How can you explain the difference between the message and the actual Muhammad to regular Sunnis? I've struggled with this.
Yeah, that's hard. Because it's a different perspective. It's a very different, it's a different prophet of Islam. They're just very different people. And I think most Muslims believe in the one from the message. They just don't, at least the ones I've talked to. I mean, the people on the streams,
Lots of Muslims do have that sort of idea more so.
Like in America, at least. I don't know in other countries, but
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about other countries. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, like the Dawa people, like I'm sorry, like I'm actually kind of horrified by the things that I've heard from them. They're like, yeah, we're okay with like hurting people and taking people's stuff. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you guys need help.
Did the missile strike the Ayatollah's aorta? Very rude comment. Jizya for Issa, peace be upon him. Oh, hi, David and Jai. Turns out there are actually 72 Virginians. Seems there was a typo. That would be good. Do you think Khamenei and Khamenei were psychopaths with antisocial personality disorder? Methinks not. Also, Issa, have you seen the Testament of Ann Lee? This isn't Ask Issa about 57 different movies day. As far as, and I think we're going to finish these super chats and wrap up. We have more stuff, but I'm just guessing that there's going to be more stuff happening in Iran, so we're going to end up revisiting the issue. We definitely want to cover the Dawa wars and so on. But as for them, having antisocial personality disorder, I've addressed this in a different context, talking about people like Daniel Hakikachu. You have lots of the Dawa guys. You can just look; they meet the requirement. They obviously meet the requirements of narcissism, like narcissistic personality disorder. Because people will say, do you think Daniel Hakikachu is a psychopath? And it's like, no, I don't. But there's something that's not in the DSM. It was in like the DSM-1. That's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health, whatever, disorders. It was in one. It was in DSM-1. And it may have been in DSM-2, I forget, but I researched this back in the day. But they had something called dissocial, people who are called dissocial sociopaths or dissocial psychopaths. And it was a different category. They took it out because it's not an actual mental disorder. It's not a mental disorder. But these are people who, so you take a person who doesn't have antisocial personality disorder, but you have that person join a group where the behaviors that are normally associated with people who have antisocial personality disorder are valued and they're adaptive. In other words, they're valued in that community and they're praised and rewarded in that community. So in other words, if you're a normal person, you join a gang. Well, now you're supposed to have different kinds of behavior, or you join the mafia or something like that, or you go to prison. Now you can't act like a regular person. You have to act like someone who has these traits, but the traits that are valued in certain communities, like a gang or in the mafia or in prison, are traits that are normally associated with psychopaths. And so since they're adaptive, then you start acting like that because you're weird if you don't act like that. So you start acting more and more like a psychopath until you get to the point where, as far as you have to do like tests and stuff to determine whether someone has antisocial personality disorder. But if you're just going on people's behavior, what's called a dissocial psychopath, someone who just adapted that behavior because it was valued in his group, he looks the same. He looks like he's behaving the same way. So you would think this person is a psychopath, but he's not. He wasn't like that. He started acting like that because it was valued in his group. And so, as far as people who grow up in, a hardcore 12-er Shia system and so on, well, you could just grow up thinking this is the appropriate behavior, and this can modify your behavior until you act like this, and you could just kill a non-Muslim like without a second thought and so on, because you've kind of been trained to do that, not because you were born with a mental disorder or something. So anyway, that would be my thought, but I don't know enough about the guys to make a call. You'd have to do some serious analysis. And then the question for Issa was, hey, have you ever seen The Testament of Ann Lee? Did I find a movie that you haven't seen, Issa?
I know about it. I haven't seen it, but I'm aware of it. It's the movie about the Shakers, like the leader of the Shakers. So it's a newer movie. It's not an old movie. So
hey, check this out. Issa said Muhammad was a fairy. Needs a paper about undesigned coincidences in Islam and al-Zut. So Dawa quote the abstract. What the heck?
I'm not the only one confused by that, right?
No, I'm confused by that too. I could.
Okay, cool.
Here's the thing. I could possibly decipher it, but my brain is way too fried right now to make the attempt. Sometimes I'm like, my brain is fried, and I don't think I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Definitely not in this sense. Dems blaming Trump for deleting IRGC are anti-progress. Hey, Issa, since this stream is about you, what's your favorite color? Do you like long walks along the beach? Do you enjoy bacon?
Okay, first question.
These are jokes. You don't have to answer any of these, but you can if you want.
I do like turquoise teal. That's like blues and greens are my color, and yeah, I do like the beach, and I will take vegetarian bacon. So yeah, vegetarian bacon.
You heard it here. So you can get the vegan bacon. Don't know what
you can get that for me.
Don't know what sort of mutant pig that came from, but anyway, Issa, given your concern with orphans, what do you think about adoption in Islam? Ooh, sick burn. I'm guessing you don't interpret Surah 33 verses 4-5 the way Sunnis have historically.
No, I have a big problem with it actually. That the way that a lot of Muslims deal with it, I think, is very bad, and I've seen the damage of it personally. I think it needs to not be done that way. I think adoption is a very good thing, and I don't think you need to like hide, take away the person's name. I think the kid is your kid. Like if I adopted a kid, I'm not gonna make them feel like an other. You know what I mean? Because that's really hard. It's a very painful thing to do to a child, where you're like, you're not really my kid. I can't do that.
It's crazy. I debated Osama Abdullah a few times back in the day, but one of my debates, he used that as an argument against Christianity. He goes, in Christians, in Christianity, you adopt another child and then treat him as your own. I got up, I was like, yeah, why is that? I was like, yeah, why is that bad? He goes, you're treating another kid like your own. And he started flipping out about it. I was like, yeah, and that's what God does with us. That's what God does with us. He adopts us, and he's going, that's evil. But he actually used it as an argument to attack Christianity. Fortunately, the audience was not on his side with that one. But that was a weird one. I'd never seen that before. Using it as an argument against Christianity. Yeah, well, that's Osama Abdullah for you.
Thank you for sharing that. That's insane. That's a really stupid argument. I'm sorry.
It's really stupid. Let me sum up Issa's answers for everyone. Issa is super awesome, super humble, and AP's best friend. Hope this helps.
You're embarrassing me. I'm really embarrassed in this stream. Wow.
Ghost Hunter says, Issa is new to me. I'm not apologizing. Well, you will. David, check Ahavat Gordon, the Israeli fighter, now 11-0, who destroyed every Muslim opponent who trash talk him. His name means God's love. That's kind of funny. Let's see. West Huff equals greatest Pakistani ever. Prove me wrong. He is. I didn't even know that until recently. He's born in Pakistan. That's funny.
He was born in Pakistan.
Yeah. His parents were like missionaries or something like that over there, and so he's born over there. I was like, wow, that's kind of. I mean, for someone who's like an epic, almost like Mike Winger level nerd, that's pretty badass there, just being born in Pakistan. Issa, have you or do you it says enter something here. All the questions are for Issa. They're saying just insert any random topic for Issa there. What's your favorite book of the Bible, and why is it the Council of Nicaea? Don't know if you're.
I'm aware that's embarrassing because
Sneeko.
a lot of people don't know what the Council of Nicaea or the Council of Trent. They don't know what these things are.
Well, that came from Sneeko when he was like, "Did you know this is when he converted to Islam?" He's like, and then I found out that they took out the book of the Council of Nicaea. They removed the book of the Council of Nicaea from the Bible, and we're like, "You are such an idiot." Dawa guys saw you coming, buddy. They saw you coming.
I actually saw Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas. It's not a very good movie, but there is a funny scene where Arius, they talk about how Christmas began and how Saint Nick was said to have beaten up Arius, and they have like a scene of it. It's kind of funny. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. Dawa bros need a recharge from Zut, so they have the strength of 30 men and can keep up with those Dawa babes. Got their behind handed to them. Yeah, not looking good for the Dawa guys. No way a place in Pakistan is called Islamabad. Yeah, I thought that was funny, man. Like, you literally call your place Islamabad. I think there's a comedian who said something about that one day, but everyone's always thought the same thing when they saw Islamabad. Like, not Islamabad? No, it's Islamabad, man. Islamabad, man. It's like really bad. There's Islamabad, Islama worse, and Islama worst. Issa mugs. What's NGL? Not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie.
Issa, I don't know what a mog is. Issa mugs. Not gonna lie. By the way, Issa, do you like cats or dogs?
I actually like both. I've taken care of rescue dogs and cats. So yeah.
I'm gonna read you some passages from the Hadith about dogs, buddy.
Oh yeah, I'm aware.
Especially black dogs. They are the shaitan.
Yeah, dogs seem to like me a lot though. So
Issa's gonna take down Islam on his own with facts and logic. And there we have Issa, like with AP, we will watch you become a cat human. Alhamdulillah.
A catechumen.
Yeah.
There's actually a PC game called Catechumen, and the goal of the game is you have to save people. You have like a sword, and you send a beam of light, and then you turn Romans into like people who believe in Jesus. It's a weird PC game, but it's an old game. You might want to play it. You go around, it's like Doom, but you save people in it.
Oh, that's funny. A game where you save people. That's funny. That's funny. All right, guys. So I had more stuff. I had an article from the New York Times on people celebrating the death of the Ayatollah, because I had the clip of people mourning it. We're going to check out the article on people celebrating and had some video clips there. And then had a video from a news channel where it's an Australian news channel where the woman there had left Iran, so she had some interesting things to say. But we've been going a long, long time, and as I mentioned, probably going to be revisiting the Iran topic here later this week. So what final thoughts on anything before we close out here? Jai, what do you got to say, man?
Pray for the people of Iran, and I hope that we see new leadership and freedom for the Christians, and that more people will come to the Lord through this.
Amen. This could be really bad and really messy for. I mean, it's gonna be messy to some extent, no matter what. But it could be really, really bad, and tons of people could die, or things could turn around pretty quickly. So, hope things work out for the best here. Issa.
Well, I always appreciate being here, and I enjoy all the folks here. I enjoy Brother Ja and you, and the wonderful chat. There's really beautiful, wonderful people here, and I appreciate them. In the world, it's sad for me. I kind of wish this didn't happen the way that it did, because I think a lot of people are suffering. There's a lot of death, and that's really unfortunate. And what is done, and so I think we need to pray for a brighter future where the people of Iran and the people in the world who are affected by this conflict right now will have peace and ease and better lives moving forward, and that this conflict and suffering will end, because it's just a lot of suffering and pain, and I think it's been going on for a very long time, and kind of hope and pray that will end, and peace and ease will come in its place.
Last couple super chats here. Do you think reformation is possible for Islam? I think it's possible for individuals or even for small groups, like large scale. And you can have Quran only Muslims, and they can interpret things in a certain way. And we saw, followers of Rashad Khalifa and stuff. They're way cooler than a lot of the guys we interact with. But I mean, there's a reason the mainstream positions are kind of the way they are, and that's what you find in the Muslim sources. And so if Islam reform, according to the mainstream Islamic sources, if you reform it, it's no longer real Islam. So if you reform it to where it doesn't line up with the sources, you start getting into the realm of something that's not considered Islam. So you can do that. You could have some group and so on, but I just don't see how that could ever be mainstream Islam. We have, why is Issa's favorite prophet Lot? That is a good question. Don't know if you understand that. They always complain about what Lot did in the Bible. They're like, they say this about a prophet, and we put lots of prophet in the Quran, not in the Bible. He's just.
And same with King David and King Solomon. Yeah, they're kings. Yeah, I think there's a lot of projection on that particular situation. I don't know. Remember we had this in our discussion. I don't have a problem if people, like holy people, make mistakes. I don't think that makes them not holy. I just think it makes them human. I don't think that that's an evil, bad thing. And I think we brought that up. Remember, like the Prophet of Islam, according to the standard narrative, Ayatollah, the verse from the Quran where it says that he frowned and turned away from the rich man, that the Prophet of Islam turned away from the rich man. He was supposed to help the rich man to coming into Islam. You could argue that that's a sin. So if we're opening that door, right, as a problematic behavior, then why do you have a problem with these other situations? I think it's just, it's not really thought out. It's specious. It's just like, I think over here, I think over there, and I'm just making up my own narrative. And yeah, I don't think, you said this too, I don't think it's a problem if holy people make mistakes. We're human beings, and that's okay. We're flawed, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and I'm surprised I've talked about it in live streams and debates here and there and stuff, but I'm surprised I've never made a video on that, because it's such an insanely stupid objection. They look, Lot commit incest in the Bible. Ha ha ha! You see Bible say prophet do incest. Ha ha ha! And it's like, you are missing a lot of points there. The point there is, like, Lot in the Bible is a good guy who goes for, like, he makes the easy worldly decisions and it leads to bad consequences, even though he's trying to do the right thing. So he tries to take easy paths in various situations, and he ends up in Sodom and then raising his family in Sodom, which is really, really evil. And then God rescues him and so on, and he ends up fleeing to a cave with his two daughters, but his two daughters believe that the entire world has been destroyed. They don't know this is like a couple cities. They think like the world has been destroyed and they're the last remaining people on the planet. And then even his daughters, who are following Lot's example of, I have to figure out a way, to do this. He's contrasted with Abraham, who's always doing everything by faith. Like, hey, you pick whatever you think is best. I'll take whatever is left, and I'll just trust that God is going to work it out. And so Abraham is always responding by just faith in God, whereas like Lot and his descendant, they're always trying to figure out how to do things on their own without relying on God. And so these girls think, oh, we're the last two people on the planet. We know our dad is not going to impregnate us, so we'll get him drunk and seduce him and so on. So it's not even like Lot's drunk. He doesn't know what's going on. Notice his daughters are trying to do the right thing, but they're doing it in like the way that they're coming up with.
The wrong
and
way.
What happens, the children of the daughters become two of the tribes that are, it's the Moabites and what's the other group? It's the Moabites
Amalekites.
Huh?
Amalekites.
Not the Amalekites. It's I would normally know this, brain fried.
The
Moabites.
Philistines.
No, it's the other one is right there. Guys, what's the other group?
Amorites? I know there was. I remember it.
I think it's something with an A. Descendants of Lot. Oh, Ammonites. Yeah. So
I said Amorites. Ammonites. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Moabites and the Ammonites, the people who ended up fighting with Israel. And so that's the idea. It's like the path you're taking and the decisions you're making are influencing future generations, and so you need to make sure you're on the right path. Anyway, it's like this deep message and so on about trusting in God and not making not making bad decisions while trying to do the right thing because you don't have faith in you don't have the trust in God and so on. And Muslims they miss it all. They miss it all because they go, oh, this isn't that. Me attack the Bible with this, even though my God affirms this as the word of God. Durr. Why? Yeah, I have to. I should make a video about that.
But you know what would be good? Why don't you do Muslim Bible study, where you do have an episode where you're like, hey, we're going to teach Muslims about what the Bible says. That might be a really fun thing because I think Muslims just remember I had a conversation with Junior about Israel versus Hamas, and I started talking about Esav, what is it? Esav, Esau and Yaakov, Jacob, right? And the kind of the birthright. And Junior was really enamored. He was really interested in it because it's he's never heard this story about Esau and Jacob and the selling of the birthright, or even understanding that narrative, because the birthright is a major theme and motif that you see throughout the earlier generations, that the younger person gets the birthright over the older child. And that's a normal motif and theme that you see throughout several generations,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really kind of interesting thing, kind of discussing what the birthright is, what that looks like, and that, Esau sells the birthright for not just a bowl of soup, but a piece of bread as well with the soup. And it's really interesting in how his mother actually is in it on trying to get Jacob to get the birthright, and kind of, was it actually right for Jacob to get the birthright? And I think these are really interesting things. And honestly, my experience in a lot of Muslim spaces, they don't know any of these stories. They don't know any of this stuff. They don't know who Daniel is. They don't know who Jeremiah is. They don't know who Isaiah is. You know what I mean? Just no clue who any of these people are. And I think Isaiah is such a significant prophet, and it's really shocking that a lot of Muslims have no idea who he is. And Jeremiah, they're both extremely significant, and it's kind of. It's sad because you're missing out on a lot and this is why I'm why are you discarding the Torah? This is the Tanakh, the whole this canon. It's so useful. You can learn so much from it. And just like what you shared right now, there's a lot of wisdom. You showed many different layers of the text. You were it's not just about this man, his wife being turned into a pillar of salt, and getting assaulted and being in Sodom and Gomorrah, that these being in part of these towns and that are kind of doing the wrong thing. It's about hey, this guy took the easy way out instead of taking the way where he's following what God says, and then the consequences of what that looks like. It's a really powerful moral tale. It's actually very just like the story of Jonah. It's such a great story where Jonah is told, you need to go to Nineveh and bring the people to the correct way. And he's like, I don't want to do that. These people they're going to kill my people. These people are evil people. God, I can't do this. And God is like, this is what you have to do. It's your sacred duty to do it. You have to do it. And he refuses to do it. And he tries to escape. And he learns that this is what, after he kind of gets kind of forcibly getting, being on the ship, but he's so noble even on the ship where he's like, yeah, I did disobey what God wanted. He owns it. He doesn't just hide and say, I didn't do it. He's like, I did do this. And he's like, you need to cast me off the ship because I am responsible. And then he gets swallowed up by that, giant, fish or whatever creature you want to call it. And then he gets forced to go to Nineveh, and it actually works out. But it's a huge lesson that even though it's hard, you're going to have, resistance against the teaching. You're going to have resistance against what's right. But ultimately, if you follow the plan, it's going to work out. Even if you think it's really bad, it's going to work out in the right way.
And we have it now for the Wingerites with a nerd emoji and the Spock Vulcan hand signal for live long and prosper. And do you all think Iran has been leering? Well, it is one big leering center right now. So, yeah, They're leering right now. All right, everyone. Yep, I'm sure we'll have more to come on Iran. I mean, even if everything just works out amazingly tomorrow and then it's all great, we'll still want to comment on how great it is. But we'll see what happens. And so everyone be praying for everyone over there, and let's all hope that things turn out for the best. I'm going to sleep now. Catch y'all later.